Naruto was furious. Actually, the word furious doesn't even come close to describe the level of anger the orange-clad boy was radiating. In fact, this specific level of anger probably deserved a word of its own. What on God's good earth could make this boy so mad? Simple. A certain fate-obsessed Hyuga with a superiority complex. Flashback. Naruto was watching the Hyugas in their match at the prelims. Neji charged an almost unconscious Hinata. He was going to end this fight. He was going to avenge his father. He was going to remove this pathetically weak girl from a Hyuga clan and get away with it. It was the Chunin exams, after all. Suddenly his open palm was deflected by a Juken strike. Everyone froze as they looked at the person that had deflected Neji's attack. It was Naruto. It took a whole 10 seconds for this to register in anyone's brain. Naruto, the dead last, used the Juken. Everyone, excluding Shino, looked shocked. And everyone, including Shino, was thinking, how on earth does Naruto know the Juken? How can he even use it without the Byakugan? Naruto simply stared into Neji's pupilless eyes, and Neji found himself wavering under his gaze. He averted his eyes over to Hinata, who was barely standing and staring in absolute shock at her crush. Naruto then spoke in a voice that demanded respect. He said the match was called Neji. Back down. Now. Neji surprised himself and obeyed the orange-clad boy. Naruto then turned around to Hinata. He walked over and hugged her. On contact, Hinata blushed. He's hugging me. Before anyone could think, what is going on? Both of them were enveloped in a red chakra. Fox's healing jutsu. Naruto said. Hinata started smoking for a brief second, and then it stopped. Naruto turned around and looked directly at the offender. Neji Hyuga, I find you guilty for attempted murder. For this, I swear to you on my Nindo that I will cripple you for life. And before anyone could say anything else, Naruto disappeared in a puff of smoke. Finally, someone spoke up. What just happened? In flashback, Naruto turned the corner. That's it. That's the last straw. He thinks he's so high and mighty because he's a genius. Well, I'm going to show him what a real genius looks like. Naruto walked into his apartment and opened his closet. He reached behind the ugly eyesores the shopkeeper called a jumpsuit and pulled out a box. It's time to know who the real Naruto is. Later that night, at the Hyuga compound, Hayashi Hyuga was sitting in his personal library, enjoying a good book and a cup of green tea. However, for some reason, his book was just not as interesting as the events his daughter had told him about. It seemed slightly unreal, but then again, the Namakazes always seemed to surprise him. So Minato's son can use the Juken. I'll have to ask him how he compensates for the Byakugan. Something behind him made a noise. He found nothing, and his Byakugan told him there was no Jinjutsu, but he knew there was something in front of him. Good evening, Lord Hayashi, said a voice that came from nowhere. I was just thinking on how the Namakazes never cease to amaze me. Hayashi said with a smile. A Naruto rippled into view, wearing a coat that looked just like the fourths with the exception of the kanji, which now read Fox. You do realize you have just told me my heritage, something that was not supposed to happen when I became a Chunin. That didn't stop you from finding your father's box. Touché. So, why have you decided to appear before me? I need some information. About the Hyuga clan, what else? I see. May I ask if it has anything to do with threatening to cripple my nephew? Yes, it does. Hayashi nodded. He knew it was impossible to talk the boy out of it. He was the son of the fourth, the most stubborn of the Hokages. I see. May I inquire as to why you want to do that to my nephew? He hurt someone precious to me. That is unacceptable. You do know that despite the fact that he tried to kill her, she really loves her cousin. If I had a family, I might understand that. Naruto, if you're referring to the fact that I didn't adopt you, Sandaime was keeping you safe by keeping your identity a secret, and if I had adopted you, too much suspicion would have been aroused. All the same, since he didn't adopt me, I grew up with the only comfort being the thing responsible for all of my torment and pain. Calm down, kid. It wasn't his fault, Kyubi said to the ranting boy. Fine, forget I brought that up, Naruto said, but all the same I need some information. Very well, what do you need on? Neji, why he is such an annoying, fate-obsessed, oh so much holier now attitude. Now that the story, Hayashi went on to explain about Niji's father and the history the two brothers had. Naruto remained impassive. When he finished the story, Hayashi asked Naruto, "Is there anything else you need?" "Yes, I'm going to need some of your Jukin scrolls." All right, all right. No objections about the Jukin being a secret family taijutsu. Well, as far as I'm concerned, it will only be a matter of time before you become family. After all, my daughter will definitely accept the engagement to you, and you already know the Jukin, or at least its basics. So you heard about that? Yes, and I must say I'm impressed. May I ask how you learned the style? When you have had a being as old as time locked into your stomach, you pick up a few things. So where did he learn it? He didn't tell me. Something about keeping a mysterious personality. Well, you have access to my library. Feel free to come and go as you please, wearing that, of course. Hayashi said, pointing to the coat Naruto was wearing. Of course, thank you, Lord Hayashi. Naruto said as he bowed. You know, if you were dropping the mask, your fiancé should be the first one to know. I'll take care of it. Don't you worry about a thing, except the health of your nephew. Hayashi sighed as Naruto rippled into invisibility. His father's stubbornness was definitely one of his most prominent characteristics. He hoped his grandchildren wouldn't take after his father in that regard. Hinata was walking around the compound in a gorgeous kimono, wondering about her crush. How does Naruto know the Jukin? How'd he heal me so fast? She blushed, thinking on the contact between them. Well, all good things must come to an end. She sighed. She walked into her room, looking for a change of clothes. She was going to go out for her daily Naruto reconnaissance rounds. She took out her jacket and was about to put it on her desk when she saw an envelope sitting there. What is this? She opened it up and read it. To Hinata, the most beautiful girl in the world. This is your favorite orange-clad genin. She nearly fainted reading that. Now don't faint on me. I can't risk anyone seeing this letter. By the way, please burn this after reading it. Sorry you can't keep it as proof that I love you, but this is very important. The previous warning was the only thing that kept her on her 2 feet. She could not let herself fail him. Now there are some very important things I need to tell you. The first is, I am a genius. You probably guessed this when I used that Jukin strike. If not, then I must be one amazing actor. The second is a SS class secret. I am the son of Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. The third and fourth secrets are related. Now promise me and yourself that you will not make any judgments until you have read both secrets. The third is that Kyubi, the nine-tailed fox, is neither a demon nor is he responsible for the attack on Konoha, and he was forced to do so by Manda Uchiha. The fourth secret is another SS class secret, but it answers the all-important question on how do I know any of this. The truth is, Kyubi was sealed into me. Hinata dropped the letter. Naruto, her crush was the vessel of a demon? No, Kyubi is no demon. Naruto said so. Naruto wouldn't lie. She picked up the letter and continued reading. I realized that this information may have compromised your view of me, but I couldn't live with myself if I didn't tell you. So it was rather necessary that I tell you. If you want to talk to me, go to the training grounds. You normally find me. Yes, I know you follow me. Now remember to burn this. I'm truly sorry you cannot keep it. I will wait for you at the training grounds. Hope to see you there. Love, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Hinata changed faster than she thought was possible and ran out of the compound. She ran to the forest and headed to Naruto's special training ground. She saw him sitting on one of the high branches and landed next to him. Vo and Noton. Hey, Hinata-chan, I'm over that way, Naruto said, pointing to a small clearing. Hinata looked very confused. Then suddenly it dawned on her that this was a shadow clone. She nodded and jumped away. This time she landed in the clearing. She looked over to Naruto, who was standing next to a man with red hair and what looked like 9 tails behind him. The man was also chained to Naruto. She looked at him, curious. Who was he and what was he doing chained to Naruto? Hello, Naruto-kun. I ask who he is. Hey, Hinata-chan. Yes, you may ask. This is Kyubi. Hinata's jaw dropped. This handsome redhead was the Kyubi, the 9-tailed fox, the Buji that had attacked Konoha. Naruto and Kyubi just looked at her and in unison said, "Believe it." BBB, but how? I think I should explain this one, kid. Perfect gives me more time to analyze this jutsu. Naruto said, holding a scroll in front of him. Hyuga-sama, I am Kyuubi, and as Naruto's letter explained, I'm no demon. In fact, none of the Biju are. Hinata looked at Kyuubi curiously. You see, the Biju are simply creatures granted spiritual power by the Great One, the only true God. Why he did this, I have no idea. Just that he did, and now I'm stuck in him. You make that sound like that's a bad thing. Naruto said, the only good thing that came from getting sealed into you, instead of someone else, is the development of your servant's freedom jutsu. Kyuubi said, like it's my fault? If you want to blame anyone, you should blame Andra. Naruto said, fair enough. What's the SSS servant's FFFF freedom JJJ jutsu? Hinata asked. I'll take this one, Q. Naruto said, putting the scroll he was reading down. It's a jutsu I developed that allows the user to let a sealed object out of whatever it is sealed into. However, the sealed object is still connected to the other object through a chain. If you haven't guessed, that's why Kyuubi is standing here. This has allowed me to stop Q's complaining about not getting any fresh air. Do you have any more questions? Kyuubi asked the Hyuga. How did you learn the Jujutsu? Hinata asked. How does anybody learn any of the taijutsu? Naruto asked back. The Juken is just another taijutsu style. The only thing that makes it so exclusive to the Hyuga is the Byakugan. Not because it is impossible to use the Juken without the Byakugan, but because the Byakugan simply makes it more effective. To make up for it, I simply study the human anatomy, rather extensively I might add. Wow, Hinata said, clearly impressed. Yup, he is one amazing kid. Kyuubi said. Have any more questions, Hina-chan? Hinata blushed deeply. JJJ just one. Dido, you are really have to see cripple Nijinizan? Naruto sighed. I knew it was gonna come to this. I wish I could take it back, Hinata-chan. I really wish I could. But a promise is a promise. I will try to find some way around it, but I can't really promise that. I know that sounds lame, but that's the truth. I hope that you'll forgive me, even though I'm asking a lot due to him. He said, pointing to Kyuubi. And in Naruto-kun, I could and never be angry at you. Or Kyuubi-sama, you are both very kind people. BBB but P please, don't be TT too hard on him. I'll do my best, Hina-chan. Alright, Q. After we finish studying, these are going to work on some ninjutsus. And then next on the list is Kenjutsu. You got a kid. I hope to see you soon, Hyuga-sama. GG goodbye, and in Naruto-kun, I'll see YU at the F finals. Bye, Hina-chan, I love you. She fainted. Naruto spent the next 2 weeks training and training hard. He and Kyuubi perfected their chain-in sword Kenjutsu, which was a mixture between the Demon Brothers' chain attacks, combined with many rather impressive Kenjutsu. He also spent some time working on the Kaiten and the other hacks. He even worked on combining the Juken and the Goken together, and found that after a lot of time, it could work. Dubbing the new style Kyubiken, Nine-Tails Fist, he continued to work and fix small flaws which he began to notice were dropping in numbers. Eventually, he snuck to Team Guy's training ground and found a way to talk to Guy. He asked Guy to look over the style for him. Guy enthusiastically agreed. All the while he was screaming about bright flames of youth, compelling the youthful Naruto to create a new style. After showing Minato Guy the style, Guy simply hung his mouth open and then, after 10 whole seconds, said, if my prize student were to fight against this new style, he would not be able to come back for my teaching. Naruto thanked Guy for his opinion on his style, but continued to work on it. He also took out his father's box, which held a scroll for his 2 famous jutsus, the Rasengan and the Hiraishin no Jutsu. After a lot of studying, Naruto realized he may be able to the Rasengan, but the Hiraishin was definitely out of the question. The last week, he was going to dedicate himself to seals. The entire time, while working on them, Kyuubi seemed distracted. Naruto let it pass by for the first 2 days, but on the 3rd day, his patience broke. Q, pay attention. HHG. Kyuubi screamed before he landed face down in the dirt. Naruto went over to the Buji and helped him up. I am sorry, Keith. I was just thinking about that Gaara kid. You mean the Sanjin Shiriki? Naruto asked. Is there another Gaara in a 4-mile radius? Funny. So what about him? Well, Shikaka may not have been sane, exactly, but he wasn't a psychopathic killer. Really? Well, now that you mention it, he did look like he hadn't had much sleep for a long time. Hey, I have an idea. What? You know how we were going to work on seals this week? Yeah, wait, you don't mean to know? No, I won't do it. You'll never get me to do it. No. Later that night, Naruto was hiding. This time, however, he was not hiding from ANBU for pulling a stupid prank. He was hiding from any prying eyes. This was a self-assigned mission of the utmost importance. I can't believe you talked me into this, Naruto said seemingly to himself. Trust me, kid. This boy will thank you for the rest of your life for this. Naruto sighed. This was going to be a big job. Gaara sat on the musty, old recliner. He hated his life. In truth, he could probably sum it up in 3 words: pain, death, and sleepless nights. That's 4 words. He corrected himself silently. Suddenly, there was a shadow in the window. On instinct, the cork on his gourd popped open, and sand spilled down his feet, only making a tiny rattle once it hit the floor. He waited. There didn't seem to be anyone here. Then he heard it, almost as light as the wind, a single word, floating to his ears. Gaara. He strained his ears. Maybe he was just hearing things. Or did the wind actually call him by name? Gaara. There was again. The wind was talking to him. Maybe all of those nights he spent staring at the ceiling were getting to him. Gaara, listen to me. There is a boy, just like you. Meet him in the forest tomorrow, and you will find something you have been longing for. What will I find? Gaara asked. Meanwhile, thinking, now I'm talking to the wind. I really must be crazy. Then the wind said a word he thought he would never hear. You'll find a friend. The next morning, Gaara almost dragged his siblings out the door, much to their annoyance. But Gaara, I haven't had breakfast yet. The puppeteer complained. Shut up, Gaara mumbled, and Kankuro wisely shut his trap. Gaara led both of siblings to the forest and told them to look for a boy. While both Temari and Kankuro were curious, they did not ask questions and began to search for a boy. Who was he? Didn't ask. Why was he here? Didn't ask. What were they doing looking for him? Didn't ask. And why this couldn't wait until they had eaten? They definitely did not ask. At 10 a.m., everyone was hungry, but fear of Gaara's wrath kept everyone going. Finally, they heard a tune being whistled, and everyone jumped to see who it was. They found Naruto sitting on a rock, whistling to himself. Gaara walked up to the boy. Are you the one who is like me? Naruto smiled and said, Yes, Gaara, I want to help you. Temari and Kankuro were walking back towards town. Naruto had told them to go eat and then wait back at the apartment. Both of them were very confused. Who was this Naruto? And why was Gaara ready to trust him at a moment's notice? None of it seemed right, but Gaara was very firm with backing up the boy's order, so they had no choice but to comply. That did not stop them, however, from making a mental oath. If anything happens to our brother, we will kill you, Naruto. Gaara sat in the middle of a very well-organized blood seal. His eyes were filled with hope. This boy Naruto claimed he could fix his seal. Naruto explained that he held Kyuubi, and Kyuubi knew Shikaku, and only a deformed seal could make the One-Tail a mass murderer. So he carefully examined the seal, and after 30 minutes of studying, did Naruto say he could fix it. Naruto explained that the seal's deformities caused several problems. The first of which was it forced Shikaku to take over as soon as Gaara fell asleep. Gaara, of course, knew this. What he didn't know was Shikaku had no say in the matter, making the insane Biju angrier, increasing the need to kill. Also, the seal was messing with Shikaku's head, making him a killer. The final thing the seal did was it gave Gaara the ultimate defense at all times, which after further studying was only supposed to happen when Gaara wished to live. Gaara growled. But then Naruto explained that when the process was complete, Gaara would have more control over sand than he could ever dream of having. And so Naruto immediately set to work, setting out the blood seal and preparing Gaara for the repairing. Naruto then took out an ink brush and carefully began to work on Gaara's seal. Suddenly Gaara heard that voice, kill him. He is no friend. He will kill you like the rest of them. But then he heard the same voice again, but it said something completely different. Don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, that's new, Gaara thought. No, shut up. Listen to me. You have no friends. Shut up yourself. Naruto is a friend. No, he will kill us. You must destroy him. If he's going to kill us, then I'm Napoleon. Gaara simply sat and listened to the argument Shikaku was having with himself. It was very interesting having the same person change views in a matter of seconds. But one thing he noticed was whenever Shikaku said to kill, he didn't feel like he needed to, like it was more of a suggestion. Then there was silence. And there you go, Naruto said. Gaara blinked. You're finished. Yes, the real Shikaku should be able to talk to you, and you should be able to get a good night's sleep. Naruto, thank you. Is there any way I can repay you? Don't worry about it. What are friends for? Friends, he thinks of me as his friend. Gaara then did something he had not done for a very, very long time. He smiled. Naruto, there's something you should know. Naruto looked at his new friend. Suna and Odo are going to invade Konoha. I was originally supposed to lead the attack, but in order to repay you, I will fight for you in your village. Naruto simply smiled and said, thank you, and I will see you there. Anxiety was hanging over the Chunin exam finals like a fog hangs over a bay. Everyone was anxious to see Naruto. Almost nobody had seen him during the last month, but after the Jukin strike incident, everyone was eagerly waiting for his appearance. Hinata sat next to her father and her sister, eagerly awaiting the appearance of her crush. Then she heard a voice. It sounded very small and light, like the wind. Hinata, I'm glad you could make it. Wait till you see the entrance I'm going to make. It had sounded like it was whispered into her ear, but there was no one there, but she waited. The protector was waiting for Naruto to show up, and Neji was smirking to himself. So the loser didn't even show up, huh? All the better. Once he thought the word loser, the memory of Naruto deflecting his attack with a Jukin strike came back to him. Even though he would never admit it, even to himself, he was frightened. Slowly a mist started rolling in, almost unnoticeable until it had covered half the arena. Then it thickened till the point where no one could see. Neji activated his Byakugan, but saw nothing. Suddenly from the center of the mist, a booming voice called out, Neji Hyuga. Shivers went down his spine. On the charge of attempted murder, you have been found guilty. Your punishment shall be. Me? The mist faded away, and in the center stood a certain blonde ninja. However, he was completely different. He wore a Yondaime-style coat, with a kanji 4 fox on the back. At his side hung a katana, sheathed in an onyx black scabbard, with 2 red foxes etched in its sides. He wore a white shirt with a red spiral pattern on its front and black pants. He also wore black ninja sandals. Neji Hyuga, today I fight you, not as Naruto Uzumaki, but as Naruto Namikaze, son of Minato Namikaze, better known as Yondaime Hokage, Konoha's Yellow Flash. Neji was doing all he could to keep himself from laughing. This dead last loser was Yondaime's son? In his dreams, maybe. You Yondaime's son? What planet are you on? Naruto simply opened his mouth and said, You may not know who I am, Neji, but I know you. What do you know about me? Neji Hyuga, age, 13, eye color, white, hair color, black, birthday, 3rd of July, birthplace, Konoha, blood type, rank, Genin, hobbies, meditation. Neji Hyuga is the #1 rookie of his Ninja Academy graduating class. He is also considered to be the strongest and most talented of all the Konoha Genin, until today, that is. He also thinks his father was forced to go in Hayashi-sama's place when Kyumo demanded a body in retribution for the death of one of their men, when in fact Hyatsu volunteered. He also is stubborn, hot-headed, fate-obsessed, and has a superiority complex that dwarfs the entire ego of the Hyuga clan. Neji was impressed. Most of that information was true, and it was impressive the idiot knew some of that. But there's more. Neji Hyuga also thinks that he has suffered in life because he lost his father. Well, today, I plan on showing him what suffering truly is. What do you know of suffering? Neji said, about to go into a long speech about the caged bird seal. I know that you don't need a seal on your forehead to feel pain. Naruto shot back. Neji blinked. How did he know about that? Let me tell you what suffering is before I show you. Suffering is when you never really know your parents. Suffering is not having someone to comfort you from your nightmares when you were little. You at least have memories of your father. I didn't even know his name till I turned 8. Suffering is being hated by this village. maybe even more than a Rougenin would be hated. Suffering is having attempts on your life happen regularly since the day you were born. Konoha's council wanted me to die the moment I came into the world. You think you know what suffering is? You haven't even begun to understand the word. Silence. Many in the stands stared at Naruto in wonder. Was it really that bad for him? Even some of the adults who had mistreated him gaped. I knew I glared at him, but attempts on his life. Niji, too, stared at the boy. He's gone through all of that. So, Niji, prepare yourself. Pain is waiting just around the corner. Naruto said. The protectors started the match, and Niji activated his Byakugan and slipped into the Juken stance. Then Niji noticed something. He couldn't see Naruto's chakra coils or the chakra points either. Naruto, however, had a huge grin growing on his face. Weird how you can't see my chakra points, huh? Niji looked up at Naruto, waiting for an explanation. The first gift from my parents, my father's coat of invisibility. Designed by Hayashi Hyuga during his teenage years. He wanted something he could use to sneak out of the compound without getting caught. So it not only hides my physical being from view when activated, it hides my chakra from your eyes, even when it isn't on. Cool, huh? Niji realized something very important. His entire attack plan was rendered useless. Without seeing the chakra points or the coils, his Juken would no longer be effective, and his plan to render Naruto useless was a bust. One thing he didn't realize, he was open for attack. Yeah. A voice yelled behind Niji, who was suddenly flying forward toward Naruto. Naruto sidestepped, as if he was dodging a person walking by. Niji landed with an oof. He looked behind him just in time to see a Naruto ripple into view. Then the Naruto that had just appeared disappeared in a cloud of smoke. Oh, how the mighty have fallen, Naruto said. But you see, now that I've rendered your Byakugan useless, we can have a fair Juken fight. What do you say? Niji didn't say anything instead. He charged Naruto for all that he was worth. He launched 2 palm strikes toward Naruto, both of which he dodged easily. Then Naruto sent a palm strike of his own into Niji's thigh. Aya, he cried, clutching his leg in pain. Niji landed on his backside, clutching his leg until the pain subsided. Then Niji looked up at Naruto and smiled. You are in my field of divination. Hakurokujian Sho, 64 palms. Hakusho Kaiten. The crowd gasped. Naruto knew the Kaiten? What more could he do? Ah! Niji cried as he felt the pain of his own attack. He fell backwards onto the ground. Before he could move to get up, he heard, Earth-style, Bone Breaker, no Jutsu. Suddenly, Niji's arms and legs were caught in large rock restraints, firmly locking him to the ground. Niji, this is your last chance. Apologize to Hinata. Why should I, a genius, apologize to that way HHH? The restraint holding Niji's right leg had split in the middle. This would not have been so bad if the halves hadn't started moving. One half started heading left, the other started moving right. 5 seconds later, a sickening crack echoed in the stadium. Naruto heard a very familiar sound, sobbing. Looked directly into Niji's tearing eyes and said no. You will not cry. You are not even allowed to cry until you have been through as much as I have. Niji simply stared back, not even trying to stop the tears rolling down his face. Please, he said, just cripple me. What? Naruto asked. Cripple me. You won, I lost. Fate weighed us and found me lacking. Fate said I was the loser. You can rub this into my face for all eternity, but please, for my crippling, make it quick. Naruto nodded his head. His right hand started to glow red. Niji Hyuga, from this day forward. Naruto lifted both hands. I, Naruto Namikaze, hereby cripple your hatred. Naruto tore away Niji's headband, and he forced his glowing hand onto his forehead. Suddenly, Niji had thousands of memories flooding his mind. These memories, however, were not ordinary. Each and every one of them were devoid of any opinion, completely unbiased. Niji saw his life for what it really was. Niji saw himself for who he really was, and he also found Naruto's description of him as absolutely correct. Niji saw himself for the jerk he was. Then it was over. Naruto stood there, hands still glowing, but in his hand was something he thought he'd never see. A cage bird seal. His caged bird seal. Was he free? From this day forward, the Niji that was will no longer be the Niji that is. Will you promise me this, Niji? Yes, he said as if in a daze. I promise you this. Then the caged bird seal, the one that was on Niji's forehead as of 7 seconds ago, started to dissipate until there was nothing left of it at all. Niji cried, not in pain, but in gratitude. Now that he had seen his true self, he realized something very important. He deserved nothing good. He deserved to be crippled. He deserved to have his father taken from him. He even deserved the seal that was placed on him. Nearly killing Hinata alone was enough for Naruto to cripple him. But Naruto had shown him mercy, and even done him one of the greatest favors a Hyuga branch member could dream to ask. Thank you, Naruto. You are truly deserving of your dream. Naruto smiled and said, I'm glad someone thinks so. Then to medic Neens came, a stretcher between them, and carried him off. Match winner, Naruto Namikaze. The crowd cheered, and Naruto was bathing in the praise, until a voice, one he didn't want to hear, called to him. Sorry to ruin the moment, kid, but I smell him. Which one? The one who smells of snake. Understood. Naruto smiled, and then before everyone's eyes rippled into invisibility. While invisible, he created 200 clones and sent them into the crowd. He himself went over to Gaara. Gaara, can you hear me? Gaara looked around, trying to find who had said that. Gaara, it's me, Naruto. I'm speaking in your right ear. Can you hear me? Nod yes or no. Gaara nodded yes. Good. Right now I've found an enemy of mine. I want you to help me. Will you do it? Gaara didn't need any encouragement, but the Biju in him gave it anyway. We must help Wind. Yes, we must help Wind. Help Naruto. So since neither he nor Shikaku were in disagreement, he nodded yes. Behind Akatsuki, an almost unnoticeable poof of smoke appeared. There's one thing you should know. My enemy is acting like the Kazekage. Gaara simply nodded. Then he faced his siblings. Neither one of you will fight in the invasion. If you do, I will kill you. Neither of them argued. Suddenly, out of nowhere, the Kazekage went flying to the arena floor. What the? Cried Saratobi. Then something else happened, something nobody expected. The Kazekage's face came off. There floated 3 feet above the ground. Then they saw who the Kazekage really was. Orochimaru was staring straight at the face he had used as a mask. Then he started to see the fist that had grabbed it. Then he saw the arm, then the torso, then the other arm and the legs, but the one thing that caught his attention was the red chain that was connected to his wrist. That chain ran over to another arm, which led to a red-headed man with an aura that looked like 9 tails behind him. My father's second gift to me, Kyubi, Naruto said simply. He then turned to Orochimaru. You remember Kyubi, don't you? Because he remembers you. And how you brutally murdered my kid and my mate. And let's not forget how you taught Mandra Uchiha how to use the advanced Sharingan to control Biju. As far as I'm concerned, you are about as much to blame for my attacking Konoha as that annoying team. Orochimaru stood up and said, Yes, I did. But you are a demon. Who's to say that you wouldn't attack Konoha anyway? Naruto and Kyubi looked at each other and laughed, leaving Orochimaru in the dust as to what they were both thinking. What is so funny? He asked, very annoyed. Naruto and Kyubi ignored the Sannin, only succeeding in making his even angrier. What is so darn funny? Naruto, after composing himself, said to the snake Sannin, Why don't you ask you sensei? Orochimaru looked at the boy quizzically. What would the boy possibly mean by that? The Sandiame simply stood and said loudly, so everyone in the stadium could hear him. He means that none of the Biju are actually demons. Everyone gasped. They're simply intelligent beasts with more power than many can believe. In perfect truth, Biju are actually good-hearted creatures, and well, as Naruto says, believe it. Well, there you go, right out of the Hokage's mouth. Naruto said with a grin across his face. Now as for you, he said, pointing directly into Orochimaru's face. Well, let's just say we got something special in mind for you. Suddenly, Kyubi and Naruto charged Orochimaru. He easily dodged both of their attempts to ram him, or so he thought. This fantasy was shattered as soon as the chain between them hit him in the chest. Suddenly, the Biju and his vessel turned around, crossing the chain over itself, successfully wrapping the Sannin in the chain. "Now we're gonna have some fun," Naruto said with a sadistic grin. "Oh yes, I love this part." The air itself seemed to tense with suspense when suddenly Kyuubi and Naruto did the most unexpected, cruel, and vicious torture known to man. They broke into song. Yandame, Yandame, Yandame. Minato Namikaze. Beat the snake and took his sake. And drank it all away, hey. Almost everyone's sweat dropped. The Sangi verse again, jumping around Orochimaru with all of the energy of schoolboys. Now for the second verse. Hooray, 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 hey. Naruto Namikaze. Beat the snake for goodness sake. And threw him far away, hey. Meanwhile, in the stands, anyone who had any sort of relationship with the boy were now denying that they knew of his existence. The only ones who actually said they knew him were proud of the caught, that he had caught a Sannin and was humiliating him before all of Konoha. A kunai sliced through the air, heading toward the boy, its thrower smirking to himself. The boy go too cocky, a true ninja should know better. His smirk died as soon as the kunai hit a wall of sand. "Geez, Gaara, nothing like waiting till the last minute, huh?" Naruto said as the redhead made his presence known. "Hey, I came to deny," Gaara said, huge smile on his face. The one who had stood in Orochimaru's defense thought maybe now would be a good time to leave, only to find his feet caught in sand. The ninja paled. "Hey, would you by any chance have Orochimaru's lackey caught, do you?" Naruto nearly laughed. "Why don't you ask him?" Gaara replied. "Yeah," someone screamed. Then a huge tentacle of sand revealed that someone to be Kabuto. "Absolutely wonderful. Now they can both die." "If you kill me, Suna will attack," Orochimaru yelled. "No, they won't," Kyuubi told him. "You see, the kid had sent about 100 clones out into the city. These clones took out any of your Odo Nins, while at the same time telling the Suna Nins what happened to their Kazekage, which in order to get his face has to mean you killed him. Trust me, they won't lift a finger to help you." Orochimaru was in shock, absolute shock. He had nothing left. Every single trick he had was countered. He had nothing left at all. "Now," Naruto said, "for your punishment, you will be locked in an unbreakable dome of sand with Kyuubi, and both of you will be restrained to keep you from performing jutsus." The dome started to form, and Naruto preformed the Bone Breaker Jutsu, keeping both Kabuto and Orochimaru restrained. Once the dome covered his head, Kyuubi began, "Now, Orochimaru, my kit and mate are going to be avenged, with a little of my own pain thrown into the mix." Ha 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 ha. Orochimaru felt his bladder go. It took 3 minutes. Only 3 minutes. As soon as the dome closed, a muffled scream was heard. Gaara used his third eye jutsu to look inside, but deactivated after 2 seconds of witnessing what the Biju was doing. 3 minutes was all it took. The chain that had been sticking out of the dome faded, and Naruto felt his tenant return. "Listen, Q, I don't care if he was an enemy. You keep those memories to yourself. Understood? Are you sure you don't want to see how I ripped his fingers off before going for his dash?" "No." "Party pooper." Naruto turned to his friend. "Gaara, whatever you do, do not open that dome." "Why not?" Gaara asked, unknowingly letting the barrier drop a little. A Jounin tossed his cookies over the side of the arena. Hayashi quickly covered Hanabi's eyes. Hanabi got her sister's eyes, while Hinata covered her father's. "Gaara, wow, oh crap." Gaara quickly recovered the gore that Q had left behind. Finally, Naruto turned and said, "This proves 2 very important things. Kyuubi could have done it a lot worse the day he attacked, and you never, ever mess with a Biju's wife." Sasuke, along with his sensei, suddenly appeared at the arena to find his everyone in a stupor. They seemed to be traumatized by something. Finally, after his appearance was ignored for 3 minutes, he screamed at the top of his lungs, "What happened? That was so amazing!" No one said anything and kept ignoring him. This only served to make him angry. Finally, Shino, sensing he should calm the enraged prodigy before he did something rash. Naruto revealed himself to be the son of the 4th Hokage and a genius, and stopped an invasion against Konoha. Sasuke looked at Shino like he had lost his mind. Kakashi smiled behind his mask and thought, "I knew it." That's preposterous. Have you even met Naruto? He's a baka. A dope. He's dash. He beat the snake Sannin Orochimaru, and he's been holding the Kyuubi since he attacked. Also, apparently Kyuubi was forced to attack by an ancestor of yours. And so everyone just believes the dope? He had the word of the Hokage to back him up. If you want to question anyone, question him. Then Kakashi said something Sasuke really didn't want to hear. It's about time Naruto showed his true colors. What? You were in on this too? The fourth was my sensei. He trusted me with some of his secrets. Not all, mind you, but his son was one of those secrets. So, you knew he had more power than a Sannin, and you didn't tell me. He's not that powerful, and of course I knew. Did you really think I would let you go on a C rank when you've only been a genin for less than a single year? Ha ha ha. Now Sasuke was absolutely furious. Kakashi had no faith in him at all, only in Naruto. So you didn't believe in me at all? Just Naruto? Yes. Kakashi said, don't feel too bad, Sasuke. Naruto has been training for most of his life and was a natural at jutsus. It's expected for him to be stronger than most jounin. Oh, you better get down there. They're calling you. Naruto was sneaking again. This time it was around the Hokage's office. He was waiting for the old man to be in there alone. Well, almost alone. Night had fallen an hour ago, and Sarutobi was keeping his desk from being invaded by the hordes of paperwork, suddenly flanked by some mission fulfillment papers. Then heard a small voice. Evening, Ajisen, long time no see. Would you mind if you can give us a minute alone? Of course, Sarutobi smiled. He snapped his fingers, and an ANBU member appeared. Please take your men with you until I tell you to return. The ANBU nodded and disappeared. Now how can I help you? Naruto. Oh, and congratulations on making Chunin. Thank you, Sandame-sama. Naruto said as he rippled back into view. I've come to request a favor. Sakura walked to the bridge. She wasn't exactly as shocked as she was yesterday, but all the same. Naruto was amazing. That pretty much summed up her thoughts for the day. Sasuke sat on the rail, waiting for the team to assemble. Where's Naruto? Asked Sakura. Don't talk about that dope to me again. Oh, what's the matter? A little sour are we? Said a voice almost as light as the wind, when suddenly Naruto rippled into view. Sasuke glared, and Sakura was again shocked. Okay, let me get to the chase. I'm going on a mission for about 4 years, so this is a goodbye. Sakura, truth be told, I never liked you that way. It was part of the dope act. Sasuke, truth be told, I did hate you, but I see potential in you, just need work more. Say goodbye to Sensei for me. You can say to me yourself. Kakashi said behind them. Everyone stared at him. The impossible just happened. Kakashi was on time. Apocalypse. He's on time. Funny. You didn't actually think you could get away with it, did you? Well, I tried. Naruto said with huge smile on his face. Hey, when you get back, I want to fight with a real Naruto. I'll hold you to that. Oh, and Kyuubi says he's sorry that Yondaime had to resort to that jutsu. All is forgiven, as long as I get to beat him in our fight. Naruto smiled. Sure, I'll see what I can do. Don't you dare. Well, I'll see you guys in 4 years. But then he suddenly rippled from view. Team 8 met in their usual spot under a large tree. Kurenai, feeling like she needed to be the responsible sensei, was there 30 minutes early. Shino arrived 5 till with Kiba in tow. Hinata arrived at 3 till. Kurenai was about to brief the team about their next mission when an ANBU member appeared. Miss Hyuga is requested at the Hokage's office. Kurenai nodded and told Hinata that she was dismissed. When Hinata arrived, she found the Hokage, her father, and her crush. Hello, Hinata, the Hokage said. Please sit. She did. I'm just going to cut to the chase. You're going on 4-year training trip. Your father has already agreed. You have 2 hours to pack and say goodbye to your team and friends. Your teammates are working on a fence, and the other teams are having the day off. Any questions? Hinata looked at the Hokage, looked at her father, then looked at her crush, and one question popped into her mind. WWY is Naruto-kun here? That's the best part, Naruto said, a smile playing on his face. You're going to need a sensei, Sarutobi said. Naruto and Hayashi smiled. while Hinata's brain began to put two and two together. Naruto will be my sensei? Yes. Do you have anything against being with Naruto for 4 years alone? Sarutobi asked. Hinata blushed. Because I can find someone else. And no, Naruto-kun is FF fine. Okay, your 2 hours began as soon as you leave this room. She nodded and turned to leave. Oh, and there's one more thing. Since birth you've been engaged in Naruto, do you accept this? Before she hit the ground, the word yes had left her lips. Hinata ran down her list of things to do. She said goodbye to all of the girls. She had packed 9 days' worth of clothes. She planned to wash her clothes every week. She had her toothbrush, floss, and 6 extra tubes of toothpaste. She had a crank flashlight and several other miscellaneous items. She also had a bag of cinnamon rolls. She would probably go without them for the whole time, so she had to keep a small stash for herself. She was waiting for Naruto to arrive. She was at the village gate just waiting. She twiddled her fingers, waiting. Naruto then rippled into view. Are you ready to go, Hina-chan? She blushed and nodded. Excellent. Follow me. Naruto then headed toward the training grounds. After 30 minutes of walking, they came upon Training Ground 44, the Forest of Death. Hinata looked over at her crush, as if asking, what are we doing here? Naruto just smiled and walked up to the closest gate. Jo, Crazy Chick. We're here. As if on cue, Anko said Crazy Chick appeared. Don't you yell at me, Gaki. Why not? I think killing someone's lifelong enemy earns me bragging rights. Then brag, but don't yell it out to the world. Anko yelled. Naruto smiled then backed down. Fine, fine, just show us our new home. Anko mumbled something about annoying brat kids and their annoying brat fiancés, but led them into the forest. She led them deep into the forest, when suddenly they came upon a clearing. The clearing was large, and it had a giant stump in the middle of it. Anko handed them a couple of tents and told them they would be living here. Don't take advantage of her, Tsungaki. Anko said before disappearing. Hinata was blushing crazily. Naruto ignored it. He looked down at the tent in his hand and threw it away. He went through a series of hand signs and mumbled something. A red chain began to form in the air next to him. As soon as it was 4 feet long, Kyubi started to fade into view. Without saying a word, they went to the stump, and taking out his sword, Naruto began to carve a door in the wood. Kyubi also formed a sword out of chakra and also began to work on the stump. After 30 minutes, Naruto came back out, Kyubi in tow. Naruto grabbed his bag and disappeared back into the stump, and then he told Hinata to come in. She followed and found the inside of the stump to be a 5-room apartment-like house. There were 2 bedrooms, a kitchen, a dining room/living room, and a makeshift bathroom. Sorry, the bathroom isn't that great, but it's hard to install indoor plumbing in a tree stump. Hinata watched in awe as Naruto began pulling out a gas stove, a refrigerator, a bookshelf, and a generator out of a single scroll. Luckily, there is a small underground river underneath the toilet. That'll keep it from stinking. How did you do all of this? She asked. It's the sword he has, another gift from his parents. Kyubi said, carrying a box of clothes into one of the bedrooms. Apparently, my mother was from a hidden village called Whirlpool, and the village was famous for making weapons. This one in particular, Naruto pointed to the sword at his side, is called the Fox Blade. It has several little abilities which are very cool. One of them allows me to convert my chakra into any element I could possibly think of. This gives me the ability to have an affinity for any element. So, to answer your question, I changed my affinity to grass, and this helped me carve the wood. I also use some wind and fire to help out also. The second ability is that it allows my opponents to become very unlucky and allows me to become lucky instead. In fact, it's probably because of this sword that Orochimaru is dead. Does that help in any way? Hinata nodded. Good. Now get your room unpacked. Your training begins shortly. Hanabi Hyuga stood with her team in line to get their scroll. They had passed the first test and were about ready to begin the second test of the Chunin exams, the Forest of Death. Hanabi remembered what her sister had told her about the forest, the giant tigers, the forest leeches, and the poisonous plants. Hanabi mentally slapped herself for not bringing the notes she had written down. Oh, well, the past is the past. Finally, her team Team 23 was given their scroll, a heaven scroll. She then walked over to the second gate. At this gate was Team 22, or better known as Team Konohamaru. "Hey, Hanabi," Konohamaru said. "Hello, Konohamaru, Moegi Udan. How are things going?" Hanabi asked. Konohamaru, seeing as how Naruto left, felt he needed a replacement and was now wearing a bright orange t-shirt with black pants. Udan wore standard issue shinobi black pants, shirt, and fingerless gloves. Moegi was stunning. She had truly lived up to her claim of being the prettiest girl in the class. Her hair ran down her back like a waterfall. Her eyes were burning with a determination that could blind someone if let loose. Her clothes were humble but attractive in the most beautiful way known to man. Her beauty was indescribable, but it was her strength was beyond words. "Things are okay, I guess." Suddenly a voice came over the speakers. "All right, Gakis. You know what it's going to take. You know about most of the threats. But there's one more you guys need to know. The 3 fears of the forest. Do not cross them. For years ago, I gave them 2 of each scroll. They still have them. The last team that faced them came back with only 1 survivor, and whether or not he survived is debatable. If you see any of them, do not challenge them. They will leave you alone otherwise. You may begin." Everyone jumped into the forest, each going a separate way, except for 2 teams, Teams 23 and 22. Konohamaru had told his team to follow them. He had an idea. At nightfall, Team 23 made a small camp. They would attack tomorrow, when most of the hot-headed ones were tired from the first day of rushing. Then Team Konohamaru appeared. "Team 22, we have an offer." Hanabi was either shocked out of reason or her small crush had led her to follow him wherever he went, no matter how stupid it was. They were actually going after the 3 fears of the forest. Just how stupid was Konohamaru? And yet here she was following him. What does that say about her? She sighed. "Hey, Hanabi," Konohamaru asked, breaking her out of her mental monologue. "What do your eyes see?" Hanabi activated her Byakugan. She didn't see much. She did see a woman. She quickly looked her over, a drop-dead, gorgeous kimono, rather dark blue, almost black hair. All she could see was her back. "I see a woman. She has a basket in her hand, and she is walking toward a large tree stump." "All right, we'll ask her about the 3 fears," Konohamaru said. They jumped onward to the clearing where the woman stood. Konohamaru stood up and asked, "Excuse me, miss, we are looking for the 3 fears. Could you tell us where they are?" Then the sweetest voice they had ever imagined responded, "What are 2 genin teams doing looking for them?" She asked, her back still turned. "Well, we heard from that crazy lady that they had 2 of each scroll, so I thought that if we worked together, we could beat them one at a time. So then we could get back to tower because, well, I like that team, and they're good friends of mine." "So, would you stand by your friends even though you may die?" "Yes," Konohamaru said, slightly unsure of himself. "But what does that have to do with anything?" The 3 fears find those characteristics valuable among all else. In fact, because of such characteristics, they may let you live, the woman said. Finally, one of Hanabi team members, a boy named Shinjid, asked, "And how do you know so much about them?" "Because," the woman said simply, "I'm one of them." Everyone froze. Suddenly a blond man appeared. He had a sword at his side and was wearing a yondaime-style coat. Underneath it, he wore a white shirt with a red spiral design and black pants. He wore a leather wristband on his right wrist, and on his left was a red shackle. "I'm one too," he said. The genin slowly backed away. The woman still hadn't turned. Then another man, one with fiery red hair and claw-like nails, appeared in a puff of smoke. He had a foxy grin on his face that looked freakishly familiar, but Konohamaru couldn't place it. "And I'm the 3rd. So," the woman said, "you have to ask yourself, are you feeling lucky?" The woman turned, and suddenly all of her thoughts ground to a halt. Hanabi too stopped. "Hanabi? Is that you?" "Hinata Nizan?" Hanabi asked. "Are you kidding me?" Naruto asked. "The first genin team who actually has a hope of surviving us happens to be the very one we have to let go? That's luck." Konohamaru's mind suddenly jogged. "Boss." Likewise, Naruto's memory jumped. Konohamaru. Moegi's and Udan's jaws dropped. Everyone stared at each other. Team 22, with the exception of Hanabi, was wondering what on earth was going on and who on earth these people were. While Konohamaru, Moegi, Hidan, and Hanabi had a sudden rush of memories. Kyubi stood there and finally said, "Wow, this is awkward." Silence, finally, at an attempt at conversation. Hinata spoke, "So, how's Niji?" "He's changed for the better. He's straight training some of the kids who never seem to get the jukin." "That's nice." "So, do you guys want to come inside?" Naruto asked, pointing to the door of their makeshift home. Sure," Konohamaru said. Naruto sat impressed at the two teams that had found them. Apparently, his never back down, fight till you can't fight anymore, hot-headedness had rubbed off on the Hokage's grandson. Fight the fears of the forest? Even though the possibility of doing so was almost non-existent. That's only something he would do. Konohamaru also had turned into Konoha's second biggest prankster in history. Hanabi had become a less shy version of Hinata. Hidan had become a less lazy Shikamaru, while Moegi had become a less violent Sakura. Now all they needed was a less arrogant Sasuke. Man, it's like an improved version of our generation. "Well, they learned from the best, didn't they, honey?" Hinata asked her fiancé. "If you mean us, then yes, they did." Naruto gave her a gentle kiss on the lips. Silence. The younger teens found this kind of awkward, and Konohamaru finally asked a question that had been bothering him for a while. "So, will you guys give us the scrolls?" Hinata looked at Naruto, Naruto looked at Kyubi, Kyubi looked at Hinata. In unison, they all said the same word, "No." "What? What?" Kyubi spoke up, "Because no one in real life would just hand the objective over. You have to get it yourself." "Can't you have a little mercy?" Moegi asked. "Please, boss." Naruto hesitated. They couldn't hand the scrolls over. That's out of the question. But if they had some help in another regard. "We'll help you." The genin cheered. "But you have to get the scroll yourself." The cheering died. "How will you be helping us then?" "We'll make sure you get to the tower in one piece. We'll leave after lunch. Right now I want some ramen." And with that, Naruto turned to the stove and began a small ramen meal. After Naruto had amazed the genin teams with his seemingly endless stomach, the three fears packed many of their belongings. No point in trying to hide now. Naruto had said. As soon as everything was packed, the little party began its mission. It didn't take long before the first scroll was captured. Hanabi used her Byakugan to see what scroll they had, and then she set a trap for them, much inspired by Team H's trap that had happened 4 years ago. Team Konohamaru had little difficulty as well. Hidan's strategy was beyond sufficient in taking down the next genin team, and perhaps it was the very presence of the Fox Blade that gave them enough luck to pick an Earth Scroll out of one of their weapons' pouch. Naruto smiled as the small party began to head to the tower. He was coming back to his friends, he was coming back to civilization, he was coming back to indoor plumbing, and most importantly, he was coming back to the world's best ramen, and the village he had sworn to protect. Then the one thing that could dampen his mood came up. Someone was following them. No doubt Hinata and Kyubi felt it, but they were remained completely calm and looked completely oblivious. Naruto opened his mental link with his tenant. Let them attack first. Understood. Hinata had silently activated her Byakugan and was watching the genin as they approached. Naruto's face slowly grew into a smile. This was going to be fun. He touched the hilt of his sword. Crack! One of the unlucky genin that had been sneaking up on the company had stepped on a certain branch. This branch had been the home of a colony of termites. In fact, this branch was near its breaking point. All it needed was the slightest push. The genin fell to the ground with a crash when suddenly said termites, finding their home disturbed, began their attack on the closest living being. This being was the unlucky genin. Ah! 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 Get them off of me! Naruto, Hinata, and Kyubi all smiled. How unlucky, Naruto said, continuing on his way. Team 22 and 23 stared at the genin who was on the edge of lighting himself on fire to get the termites off, then noticed their bodyguards had just kept walking. They caught up to them when they suddenly heard Kitan, Gokakyu no Jutsu. Suddenly, another sound reached their ears, the sound of a genin burning his own skin off. The baka. They heard Naruto mumble. He could have jumped into the pond. Katon, Gokakyu no Jutsu. Suddenly, a huge fireball came roaring toward them. Hinata didn't even turn, Suiton, Daibafu no Jutsu. Suddenly, a giant whirlpool appeared out of the pond and engulfed the flames. Then the whirlpool kept going and a scream was heard in the distance. For reference sake, this is the jutsu Kakashi used against Zabuza at the end of their first battle. Hanabi gawked at the new power her sister had acquired. The jutsu she had just used was amazing. Finally, the third genin appeared right in front of the small group. "You won't get past me," he cried. "I had the first one," Naruto said. "Well, it's not my turn. I had that girl who used the fire jutsu. Rather impressive she did that, actually," Hinata said, whispering the last part to herself. "Guess it's my turn." Kyubi sighed. Kyubi walked in front of the group. His killer intent spiked. His red eyes had an animalistic look. His whisker marks became actual whiskers. His teeth grew longer. His ears became pointed and moved to the top of his head. He dropped onto his hands and feet. His flaming red hair grew over his whole body. Kyubi was the fox once more. His giant figure towered above everyone. The genins cowered, leaving only Naruto and Hinata standing. The fox inhaled with his nose. It was like a whirlwind. "You smell like fear." The boy turned to run, but only wound up running into a trap he had set for a battle. The trap was very effective. The boy would never move again. Kyubi reverted back into his human form. "Let's go, I want some ramen." Hokage Tower was a mess. The secretary was unconscious. The halls were littered with paper, dropped by workers who didn't watch where they were going. The teams that were there for missions, reporting, or accepting were shocked into a stupor, and the ANBU guards could barely stand on their own 2 feet. The old man's pipe had clattered to the floor, and the Godame Hokage's sake battle accompanied it. "Oh man, someone beat me to it," Naruto said as he came in, noticing Tsunade sitting in the Hokage's chair. "Oh well, position for the 6th is still open, right?" Naruto asked the aging man. Tsunade turned to Sarutobi. This Naruto?" Sarutobi nodded. "I think so anyway. I was going to say, he looks like his dad." "Yeah, me and my old man are pretty alike. There's only one difference," Naruto said. "I'm better." "And you're humble too," Hinata mumbled jokingly. "I heard that. You were supposed to." "All right, enough. No picking on each other until we get to the house," Kyubi said. "Speaking of which, is the Namikaze estate ready to receive us?" "Almost. We couldn't get into your father's mansion because we were in need of your blood," Sarutobi said. "Okay, we'll take care of that when we get there, but I have a couple of things to do first, one of which is to report my last 4-year mission. Let me begin by saying it was a complete success." Naruto continued on to say how Hinata has changed and so on, how much stronger she is, the new jutsus and taijutsus she has learned, among other things. Sandame smiled the whole way through. "See, Tsunade, I told you he'd make a good teacher." Naruto's mind, hearing the name for the first time, finally recognized the woman. "So that's the legendary sucker, huh? This just might work." Naruto smiled. "Secondly, I have a complaint." Immediately, everyone's undivided attention was on the blonde. "Due to Hinata's new growth and my mass destruction, I feel that my remaining in Team 7 is only a waste of my time and skill. I also feel the same about Hinata and Team 8. Don't get me wrong, our experience in both teams was vital to our growth, but to better use our abilities, I believe we should form a new team." "And why do you believe that a new team would be beneficial to Konoha?" Tsunade asked. "Because without me on Team 7, it would allow Sasuke and Sakura more time to grow, allowing for him to become more powerful before attempting to kill his brother. Also, as Hinata's sensei for the past 4 years, I know her tactics and strengths, something that would take Team 8 a while to discover, and thus it would be a waste of time and manpower. As if that's not enough, it's no secret that myself and the Uchiha don't get along." Tsunade looked impressed. Those certainly were good reasons, but the teams were the teams. "You have some good reasons, I'll admit, but I'm not going to change the teams." Naruto looked at her, a devious grin on his face. "Then how about a bet?" Tsunade both hated and loved those words. The look on her face was one of inner conflict as she tried to pry the dice out of the hands of her inner gambler. "What do you have to wager against me, the Hokage?" she asked, trying to discourage herself from taking the bait. "How does a list of all the jutsus I've made sound?" I'll even add a nice retirement home in the Namikaze estate for you. Sandame's eyes went wide. That was something he'd kill for. A home in the nicest place in Konoha? To live there until the end of his days, that was heaven. Tsunade's inner gambler had already thrown the dice. What's the challenge? Naruto smiled. 3 Chunin, 6 Jounin, against me, Hinata, and Kyuubi in his human form. Tsunade looked at the 3 of them, 3 of their best Chunin and 6 of their best Jounin. There's no way these could survive. You're on. Naruto looked the Jounin over. All of them were familiar faces: Kakashi, Guy, Asuma, Anko, Ebisu, and Kurenai. The Chunin were completely new to him, but that didn't matter. Naruto then checked the environment: a lake nearby, a large open field with trees surrounding the field and the lake. Looks like we're going to get our fight, Kakashi, Naruto said. Kakashi gave a nice smile and pulled out a kunai. Looks like it, Naruto. Kyuubi, listen good. When you see Hinata, tell her we each get 2 Jounin and 1 Chunin. I get Kakashi, Guy, and the short Chunin with red hair. You get Anko, Asuma, and the big guy. Hinata will get Ebisu, Kurenai, and the Hyuga Chunin. Gotcha, kid. I'll tell her as soon as she gets back from changing. The redhead Chunin was pacing back and forth. What on earth are we waiting for? My girlfriend to change. She doesn't want her kimono getting dirty. Naruto answered him. Like that's all she has to worry about. The Chunin chuckled. Naruto was tempted to say that it was all she had to worry about, but decided against it. No need to get the guy riled up. A familiar scent wafted under his nose. And here she comes, Naruto said. Kurenai's jaw dropped to the floor. Hinata had ditched the kimono for ANBU-like battle gear. She had iron-plated gloves that went up to her elbows, a dark blue flak jacket, not a Chunin one, because she had to be re-ranked, but that would change after the fight. She wore black pants and a blue jacket, not as large as she wore during her genin years. In fact, this one was nothing like that jacket. It was more like Naruto's coat than a jacket. Underneath her jacket, she wore a black fishnet shirt. Have I told you how beautiful you look in that? Naruto asked his girlfriend. Only 50 times. Hinata answered. Well, make it 51. Okay, lovebirds. Pay attention, we've got a bet to win. Kyuubi told the 2. You're not worried, are you, Q? Me? Worried? Huh. In another life, maybe. Good, we don't need you turning tail. Hey, honey, Hinata asked. How are we going to take them? 3 fears techniques, Naruto replied. And if they come back, then we can practice taijutsu. Okay, then, we'll do. Are you ready to begin? Tsunade asked. I was born ready, Naruto yelled. Begin. Kyuubi ran to take his 3. His opponents didn't disappoint. They began throwing everything they had. Katon, Osenka no Jutsu. Katan, Karyu Enden. Seniajashu, 6 fireballs and a flame dragon flew toward the Biju, which he expertly dodged, all the while avoiding the crazy snake mistress who had 2 snakes hissing at him from her sleeves. Once the fireballs flew past him, Kyuubi began a series of hand signs. Fear the forest technique. 9-tailed fear, no jutsu. Suddenly 9 fox tails appeared on Kyuubi's back. They slowly started spinning, growing longer and longer until they went as far as 3 meters. Kyuubi slowly moved to the closest opponent, the Chunin. Said Chunin suddenly found himself spinning at high speeds as he was caught up by one of the tails. Kyuubi then jumped the 2 Jounin. They too were caught up in the whirlwind of tails. The tails kept spinning, slowly rising in the air until all 9 tails were pointing straight up. Then the tails dived into the earth, leaving only 3 heads above the ground. Suddenly 3 kunai hit the ground in front of them. Each one had a tag tied to it. The 3 heads' eyes went wide. They cringed, as well as a head could cringe. Then the tag showed itself to be just a piece of paper with the words game overwritten on it. Kyuubi gave a sadistic grin that sent a shiver down Anko's spine. I could have done much worse. Naruto was laughing his butt off. Every time his 3 opponents took 2 steps, they tripped on their own feet. What is going on? We're Jounin, Kakashi yelled. Guy decided to throw in his own 2 cents. It is the youthful Naruto. His bright flames of youth blind our feet. Shut up, you annoying, spandex wearing. The Chunin mumbled, fed up with tripping. Okay, that's enough of that, Naruto told them. I'll make it easier for you. I'll come closer. The Chunin's blood boiled on hearing that. Shut up. The Chunin charged Naruto, kunai in hand. Unbeknown to the Chunin, his kunai had a weak spot, a hair's width wide. One would have to be ridiculously lucky to find it. Well, Naruto just happened to be that lucky. The Chunin's eyes went wide as he saw his kunai split down the middle, cut by Naruto's sword. His shock lasted 3 seconds because after that he was sent flying from a kick to the chin. Well, that was fun, Naruto said. Now to end this, fear of the forest technique. Fear of the fox blade no jutsu. Naruto's sword glowed a brilliant white light. Stage 1. Fire. His sword suddenly burst into flame. Naruto took one swing. The flame flew from the blade, forming a brilliant arc that flew towards his opponents. Stage 2. Water. His sword was suddenly coated with ice. He swung his blade again. The ice melted, then refroze, coming at the fighters as icy needles. Stage 3. Wind. The blade's aura seemed to grow disturbed, as if the wind around it were the equivalent of a Category 5 hurricane. Stage 4. Earth. Suddenly, Kakashi, Guy, and the Chunin found themselves caught to the ground by stone boots. Stage 5. Grass. Vines wrapped around their feet, binding them further. Stage 6. Lightning. The sword began to crackle. Add that with the cutting power of the wind, and he had a weapon that would cause severe pain and rip them apart. Game over, Naruto said. Kakashi smiled. He was proud to say it. Even though he had nothing to do with his abilities, he couldn't help but swell with pride. Naruto was his student. Hinata was in stare down with her 3. Kurenai, her sensei, she have it better than the other 2. Ebisu, the closet pervert teacher, his fighting skills were average, his affinity was water, like hers. So she should expect much of the same attacks if he got out of her technique, that is. Then the Chunin, he would be unaffected by her technique, but then she could use the Kubiken on him. That would be something testing the taijutsu on a Hyuga. Megan, Jabaku Satsu. Kurenai thought she might as well try her favorite Jinjutsu. As expected, her eyes quickly dispelled the jutsu. Suiton, Suiryudan no Jutsu. Ebisu yelled. A giant water dragon flew towards Hinata. Thinking quickly, Hinata flew through a series of hand signs on her own. Suiton, Suijin Hiki. A wall of water flew up, stopping the dragon in its tracks. Then Hinata began more hand signs. Fear of the forest technique. Fear of the moon, eyes no jutsu. Ebisu began to charge. Then he saw her eyes. Black like the new moon. Kurenai saw it too. A slither of white grew at the left edge of her eyes. The slither grew until her eyes were pure white, the full moon. Then a black slither grew and slowly covered her eyes like the white had. Waxing and waning, her eyes flowed through the stages of the moon. Slowly her eyes grew. Nothing existed but those eyes. Months passed. And then years, then decades. Finally, 10,000 years had passed. Only those eyes were there. Finally, one word echoed in the darkness. Gotcha. Kurenai and Ebisu suddenly found themselves tied to a tree. Their arms were separated, so any rope jutsu would be impossible. That only leaves you, Hinata said as she turned to the Chunin. He looked up at her and activated his Byakugan. Hinata didn't bother. She simply slipped into the Kubiken stance. The Hyugas slowly began to approach. Then Hinata threw a punch, with enough chakra pumped into it to render the Chunin's arm useless. With the Byakugan, however, the Chunin saw the chakra as it came at him. He quickly dodged the punch and rolled backwards, putting space between the two of them. An idea struck Hinata. I wanted to try this new jutsu, and I think you'd be a perfect test subject. Shugo hack Rokujion show. The Chunin suddenly found himself dodging thousands upon thousands of beams of chakra. Suddenly his arm was hit by one. HHH. He felt like his arm had been ripped open. A glance at his shoulder proved it had been. Another one hit his leg. Finally, Hinata stopped firing. She took one look at the wounded Chunin and fired one single shot at his chest. Luckily for the Chunin, it was much weaker than the first ones. He passed out. Hinata walked over and began to look over the wounds her jutsu caused. The damage was good. That meant she didn't need to add any more chakra, but the amount of time she had hit, or rather, the lack of times annoyed her. She made a mental note to speed up the overall jutsu. Finally, she stood and looked over to Tsunade. You may want to attend to him. Naruto had to hand it to them. His parents knew how to live. The mansion, well, actually, mansion seems a little small when compared to the giant building they found before them. The one building took half of the Hyuga compound. It had 3 stories and a basement, each one with bathrooms all over the place, probably due to the large size of the house. It had a dojo, an artificial hot springs, a medium-sized indoor lake, a bowling alley, and a library filled to the brink with scroll on jutsus. Naruto rubbed his hands in anticipation. He couldn't wait to start. There were 6 different bedrooms on the first floor, 9 on the second floor, and 1 on the third. This happened to be the master bedroom. Naruto reminded himself to ask Hinata on what she thought about sleeping arrangements. Finally, there was the kitchen. It was big. It was large enough that it took more than 10 seconds to cross it. When Naruto opened one of the cabinets, he nearly cried. It was a recipe for ramen. Hinata, after being asked what she thought, felt that it was best for them to sleep in separate rooms. No need to ruin their wedding night, just because one or both of them was a little amped up. So they took 2 adjacent rooms on the second floor. After they had gotten settled in, a messenger from the Hokage came by. He dropped off Hinata's new Chunin vest, and Naruto was told that, after he had at least a year's worth of experience, would he be appointed Jounin. Naruto nodded and asked if there was anything else. The messenger nodded and said they would have a week off before their team had their first mission. Naruto told the messenger to thank Tsunade for him and closed the door behind him. Naruto walked into the large living room. It had a huge fireplace off to the side, had 2 couches and a large recliner. To think this is just the one house, Naruto said as he sat down next to his fiancée. We don't even know what there is in the rest of the compound. I know, Hinata said. It's like the whole compound in one house. I'm surprised there isn't a grocery store next to my room. There are grocery stores in compounds, Naruto asked. Only when those of inferior blood open them. But still, that's the one thing that's missing. Well, that leaves one question. What do you want to do this week? Well, I know something I'd like to do. What? Sit here in your arms, Hinata said as she wrapped his arms around her waist. I like that idea, Naruto said. Naruto slowly leaned forward and kissed his beautiful angel. Someone coughed behind them. Sorry to ruin the moment, Kyuubi said, but I have to bring up a very important issue. Which issue would that be? Naruto asked. Survival through sustenance. Any and all food your parents left has been expired for the last, 16 years. And don't even get me started on the refrigerator's current state, not to mention the milk. You know what, Kyuubi? You make an excellent point. So I'm going to the market and get some fresh food. Hinata, would you like to come with me? Kyuubi didn't catch the wink he gave to his girlfriend. Yes, Hinata said. Yes, I would. But that leaves a question. And what question is that? Who is going to make room for the new food and get rid of the old food? Kyuubi stated to see where this was going. I don't know, because if I'm going to the market and you're going to the market, we both can't do it. You guys are evil. You know that, Kyuubi said before they finished their rhetorical questions. Come on, Hinata, we better go before he starts arguing. Like I can argue with the person that decides whether or not I can sit outside and breath. Kyuubi asked to himself, annoyed. He heard the door to the house close. He sighed and walked over to the fridge. He cautiously opened the door. Suddenly, the pungent odor of out-of-date ramen, spoiled milk, rotten vegetables, and moldy fruits filled his sensitive nostrils. Oh, what died in here? His eyes suddenly caught sight of a dead mouse that had unfortunately crawled in there. He was dry heaving it. Here I am, the most powerful of the Biju, cleaning out a refrigerator. The kit was going to pay for this one. Hinata was walking along with her boyfriend, who was carrying a ceiling scroll to fit all of the groceries into. So far, she had bought several different foods, including the essentials for ramen and cinnamon rolls. She was just about to get some canned food when she bumped into a young man with black hair. Gomen, Hinata said. The man turned. No, it was my F of Hinata. Suddenly, it clicked in her head. Niji. Hinata. Niji. What is it, Hinata? Naruto asked. Naruto. Niji. Hinata. Niji. Naruto. Hinata. Naruto. Niji. If anyone had walked by, they would have been just as confused as the 3 of them were. Okay, let's stop that. My head is starting to hurt. Naruto said. Wow. Niji started Hinata-sama. Wow, you look. He paused. Niji didn't pause because couldn't find a word to describe her. He had paused because he couldn't use any of those words in front of her boyfriend. Absolutely amazing. That was good, and he wisely decided to leave it at that. Hey Niji, a female voice called out from inside a store. Are you coming in here or what? Hinata? Here we go again, Naruto thought. Hey Tintin, Hinata said. It's been what, 4 years? Tintin didn't say a word. She did, however, faint. So that's what it's like on the other end of it. Niji scooted over to Naruto. You better get Hinata out of here before Tintin wakes up, otherwise you'll be stuck here for at least 3 hours. He whispered. Naruto nodded. Hey, honey, we better get going. But what about Tintin? I'll take care of her. Don't worry about a thing. Niji said. Well, okay, just make sure she calls me. Oh, well, it's good to have you back, the both of you. Oh, and if I were you, Naruto, I'd stay away from any of the Hyuga elders, except Hayashi. What? Naruto asked. They aren't too happy about the favor you did for me. Well, they'll just have to get used to it, because I don't plan on slowing down. During Naruto's and Hinata's venture, they had a couple of more run-ins, namely Team 10, Team 8, and Sakura. Hinata, being much more spontaneous than she previously was, decided to throw a slumber party and invite all of the girls. Naruto decided it was okay, as long as they didn't destroy anything or go streaking. So Hinata began telling the girls to come over that night and bring their sleeping bags. When they got home, they noticed that Kyubi was now standing next to a brand new 2-door refrigerator. Trust me, getting a new one was a much better idea, he said. So where's the old one? Naruto asked. Kyubi thought about telling Naruto about how he took the fridge and used the kitan, carrying no jutsu on it, leaving nothing but ash, but decided against it. It's at the dump. Fine. Now, let's get these groceries put away. Immediately, the three of them went through a series of hand signs. Gahebunsin no Jutsu. 6 Hinata clones, 9 Naruto clones, until we've Kyubi clones puffed into existence. Okay, Q, you and your clones fill the fridge. Hinata, take the pantry. I'll take the non-food objects. Ready? Go! Suddenly the scroll that held all of the groceries exploded. Not a flaming explosion, but rather it launched everything it held into the air. White, blue, and red blurs jumped into the air, grabbing miscellaneous items, anything from clothes to food. Suddenly, all of the blurs jumped to other separate parts of the house, accurately putting each item in its proper place. Suddenly, each blur jumped back into the kitchen, followed by a puff of smoke as all of the clones dispersed. What would we do without shadow clones? 10 o'clock p.m. rolled by, and Hinata's party room had almost all of its guests. Ino was over by the window, enjoying her time as she brushed Hinata's long midnight hair. Sakura sat nearby, looking through a magazine. Finally, a knock was heard at the door. Yes? Who is it? Hinata asked. Your favorite weapons expert, Tintin said from the other side. Come on in, Ino said. Hi guys, what's going on? Not much, but things are going to start up now that you're here. Oh good, I didn't miss anything. Tintin came in and sat down. So what should we talk about? Hinata asked. Well, let's talk about you guys, Ino said. Which guys? You guys, you and Naruto. Ino said. Yeah, I mean you're lucky you got the Namikaze heir. That's got to be luck. Not to mention he's hotter than Sasuke. Sakura said. Ino looked at her as if she had committed blasphemy. Well, he is. I've been with Sasuke for the last 4 years. Naruto's hotter. A knock sounded at the door. Who is it? Hinata asked. Here's a hint. I have 2 tails, I'm a fox, and my name's Taratika. I'm not good at making names like those, a female voice said behind the door. Okay, come on in. The door slid open, revealing a waist-high fox, dressed in a beautiful kimono. So why are you here? Naruto-sama wants to know if you guys would be okay if he took a long walk. Yeah, I think we can handle anything that comes our way. Very well, Hinata-sama, I'll go tell Naruto-sama. Oh, one more thing. Why did Naruto send you instead of coming himself? Taratika giggled. He didn't want any of you to attack him because he saw you in your underwear. Well, I'm going to go. Enjoy your night. The small fox left. She's such a sweet girl, Hinata mumbled to herself. Sakura stood up, a confused expression on her face. Who was that, Hinata? HM? Oh, that was Taratica, one of our Fox summons. Fox summons? Yeah, QB gave us a summoning contract with foxes. Huh? Tintin asked. Hinata sighed. We really need to catch up. Naruto was walking along the near-abandoned streets, his only company being the fox in his head. You're way too thoughtful, QB complained. How so? You could have seen the hottest babes in all of Konoha, in nothing but their nightgowns, or less maybe, and you could have blamed it on not thinking. But no, you pass it up. The only one down there I really want to see is Hinata, and I promised myself I wouldn't until our wedding night, so shut up. Fine. Hey, do you smell that? Yeah, it smells like Naruto stopped in the middle of the road, sniffing at regular intervals. Finally, it hit him. A smile grew on his face. Hey there, Sasuke. It's been a while. A figure appeared from the shadows, a deep scowl painted on his face, and a Sharingan spinning in his eyes. I heard you were back, though. So you do remember me. I want to fight. No surprise there. I want to fight you, and only you. Leave QB out of it. What makes you so sure I can do that? Sakura told me about how QB killed Orochimaru. I don't want to fight him. I want to fight you, and I want to beat you. Okay then. Naruto went through the hand signs for the improved version of the servant's freedom no jutsu, freedom of a trusted servant no jutsu. QB faded into view, and then he walked away, back toward the Namikaze mansion. Well, what are you waiting for? Sasuke didn't need any more encouragement. He charged the blonde boy, who stood there impassively. He was almost on top of him. He dodged. Sasuke only saw him because of the Sharingan. Oh, so close. Why don't you try again? Naruto said as he stood behind the Uchiha. Sasuke tried again, this time leaving his arms out for a tackle. Naruto stood absolutely still, and then at the last possible second, he disappeared over Sasuke's head. Man, you just don't seem to get it. You're supposed to hit me. Shut up, Sasuke said as he pulled out a kunai. Careful, don't poke your eye out. Shut up. Sasuke threw the kunai straight into Naruto's face. Naruto responded by catching the flying object with his teeth. Then using his tongue, Naruto flipped it and then launched it at the Uchiha, using his mouth. It came at him surprisingly fast, and Sasuke found that if he didn't dodge that, it could be painful. So that's it? Naruto asked. I thought for sure you could do better. Sasuke felt something warm creep up on his neck. He forced it down. No, not yet. Wait for it. Sasuke knelt down and held onto his wrist. Chindori. So Kakashi taught you that, did he? Normally, I'd think you were getting special attention. Oh wait, you were. Naruto said as his palm began to hold a massive amount of chakra. Sasuke charged, Chindori forward, but he did not expect what the blonde did next. Rasengan. Naruto forced the spiraling sphere forward, directly into the ball of lightning. Sasuke went flying as soon as the two jutsus met. Sasuke slowly got back on his 2 feet, and then he looked over to his opponent, expecting the blonde to be recovering also. Reality was not what he was expecting. Naruto stood, a smile on his face. He had not moved an inch. Then something happened that Sasuke thought for sure was just a rumor. Naruto disappeared. Sasuke was looking everywhere. He had to find the blonde. There was no way he could fight an invisible enemy. How right he was. Suddenly, Sasuke went flying forward. And he landed in a heap of trash. Now you see that's how you do it, Naruto said when he became visible again. The warmth began to spread again, and this time, Sasuke led it. He could feel the power slowly overtake him. He felt the extra chakra being added to his reserves. Here's something I saved just for you, Naruto. Black flame marks slowly covered his body, but then it went further. The marks turned his whole body black, and 2 huge hands forced their way out of his back. Sasuke had awoken his curse mark to the 2nd level. Naruto looked at the new, winged Sasuke and said, "You look as ugly as a modern art masterpiece." "It doesn't matter, because you're going to die," Sasuke said as his Chindori started. It then flared a dark-colored chakra, giving it a powerful and evil look. Sasuke charged the boy Chindori forward. Then something happened. Naruto sidestepped, but he held his hand out. As Sasuke's wrist flew to where Naruto was a second ago, it was grabbed by Naruto's open hand. Suddenly, Sasuke was flipped around, and he felt his own Shindori being forced on his shoulder, but more importantly, his seal. The power slowly fell away, and his marks receded back into the seal. Then Naruto lifted his hand, and it started glowing red. He then placed his hand on the seal. Sasuke Uchiha, from this day forward, I, Naruto Namikaze, will cripple your hatred. Sasuke suddenly had a flood of memories, everything he had done, every time he had coldly ignored each and every one of the girls, every time he had been arrogant, prideful, and cold, every hurtful comment, everything he had ever said or done. Suddenly Sasuke found himself standing in a spotlight, surrounded by darkness, and in front of him stood an old man and a young man. The old man stood, leaning on an ebony cane, his long white beard almost impossible to find among his long white hair. His face had many deep wrinkles from where 1,000 smiles had sat. The young man had a torn shirt, thousands of cuts on his body. He was in need of a shave and a medicine. Then it hit him, both of these men were him. Wadash. The old one lifted his hand. I'm the Sasuke that could be. The one in desperate need of a razor scowled and said, I am the Sasuke that will be, if you keep living like you are. Then a voice behind the current Sasuke said, one dies a grandfather of 30, the other dies alone, in a ditch at the age of 17. Sasuke turned and he saw Naruto and his future counterpart, the Rokudaime Hokage. One fights to protect those who are precious to him. The other fights with hatred for his brother. I'll let you choose which future you want, and then he will tell you what he fights for. Naruto faded away, leaving his Hokage counterpart. The aged Naruto looked at the current Sasuke, and he said in a mellow voice, choose wisely, dear boy. One fate can change another, and then another. I will not say to give up on your ambition, but do not let it ruin your life. It is too much of a precious thing to waste. Then Naruto faded from view. Sasuke looked at his counterparts. The younger one had a wild look in his eyes. The older one had a kinder, understanding look. Sasuke stared at them. You, the older one, who do you fight for? He was confident in his answer. After all, fighting for someone else could only increase his chances of dying. But what came out of his mouth truly surprised him. I fight to protect those whom I find precious. Hatred was not the same kind of motivation like protecting those precious to me was. What about you? Sasuke asked his other self. I used hatred. I killed Itachi. It may have killed me, but I did it. I won. I did it. Ha 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 ha. Sasuke looked at the younger one like he was crazy. Then it hit him, he is crazy. Suddenly Sasuke found himself back in the street. Naruto stood there, the curse mark floating in his open hand, a questioning look on his face. So have you decided? I think I have. And I think Itachi can wait. Well then, I'm glad to meet the new Sasuke. Naruto said as the curse make disintegrated to dust. It was the morning of the 5th day in their week off. Naruto was enjoying the indoor lake, as Hinata used its waters for training purposes. Shield of water, no jutsu. She cried as a dome of water surrounded her. A nearby shadow clone threw a shuriken at her. It hit the water and slowly began to sink to Hinata's feet. Misubunsin no Hutsu. Hinata yelled. The dome then formed into a water clone. They both charged the shadow clone, which started to defend herself against the original and the water clone. The shadow clone then destroyed the water clone, leaving nothing but a puddle. Hinata performed 3 cartwheels backwards, giving her enough space to begin another jutsu. Her hands went through the practiced hand signs as she began another jutsu. Blade of water, no jutsu. Hinata launched an arc of water toward the shadow clone. The clone jumped over the arc and pulled out a kunai. Encasing ice boots, no jutsu. The shadow clone suddenly found herself stuck to the ground by ice boots. Hinata began her second original jutsu. Disintegrating water bullet, no jutsu. A stream of water launched from the lake and gushed toward the shadow clone. If the clone had been a real person, her torso would have been shredded to pieces. You really should learn some non-water-based ninjutsus, Naruto said as he came onto the synthetic shore. And why is that? Hinata asked as she adjusted her one-piece bathing suit. What on earth would you do if there wasn't a lake nearby? I don't know, bring water with me, maybe? So, what? You gonna wear a water gourd on your back like Gaara? It would ruin your figure. He spread out a towel and sat down on it, waiting to drip dry. Well, what do you suggest? She asked as she sat down next to him. Well, I've taught you the Rasengan, so why not some other Namikaze jutsus? After all, we have a whole library downstairs. You know what? I like that. She leaned in and kissed him. Naruto kissed back. Naruto sighed. I love you. I love you too. Hey, I know you've told me 1,000 times, but could you tell me when you first fell in love with me one more time? Naruto sighed in mock exasperation. Fine. Then he smiled. It was 12 years ago when we first met. Flashback. A young boy was walking along a lonely pathway in the park, his smiling face shining. But it was his eyes that betrayed his thoughts. Stupid orphanage. Can't even tell the difference between a fox and boy. He continued on his way, barely noticing the little girl on the swings, until the scent of lilacs floated under his nose. He turned to see where the smell had come from, and his heart went soaring. Her pale lavender eyes, along with her short, cropped midnight hair, reflected the light in such a way as to make her look like an angel. Naruto turned away. He couldn't afford to fall in love. He couldn't let the villagers hurt someone else because of him, especially for something as trivial as love. Yet, he couldn't stop himself for giving her a second glance. That was all his heart needed. Later that night, Naruto was haunted by dreams of a beautiful girl who smelled like lilacs. After 3 days of these dreams, Naruto couldn't take it anymore. I've got to know who she is, he said to himself that night. He snuck into the library the next night, using the daytime hours to plan his way in, and researched everyone with pale eyes. Here he learned of the Byakugan. After learning of the Byakugan was the Kinki-eye Jinkai of the Hyuga clan, Naruto immediately narrowed his search to Hyugas. The more he learned about the family, the more he began to love the girl. Finally, after weeks of research, Naruto got a name, Hinata Hyuga. The name itself sounded like a chorus of angels. Flashback end. When I found my father's box, 4 years later, I discovered in it a letter that said we were engaged. I was ecstatic. The most beautiful person in the world was promised to me, if she would have me. Naruto looked into the lavender eyes. When I first discovered you watching me, my heart started to jump for joy, and I began to love you back with every fiber of my being. But you could never show it because of the villagers. Hinata said from memory, saying the sentence for her boyfriend. No, I couldn't. If you were to be the object of my affections, then if you did the slightest thing wrong against the village, they would want nothing less than your head. So I had to keep them off track, and I began to follow Sakura. When I saw you watching me, even after I had went after her, I knew that you really did love me for who I was, and I couldn't thank you more for doing so. Later that day, Naruto, Hinata, and Kyubi were all looking for some good ninjutsu for Hinata. They began looking at many of the wind jutsus the Namikaze have. Hinata had developed a second affinity for wind during her training with Naruto. This made it easier for her, especially since the Namikaze family jutsus were almost entirely wind-based. Okay, let's try this one, Naruto said as he handed a scroll to Hinata. The Vortex Punch no Jutsu, Hinata said as she read out loud. B-rank ninjutsu that creates a powerful vacuum around the user's fist which attracts any item or person in a 2-foot radius. The jutsu increases the force of the punch, giving the illusion of super strength. It can also be used to grab an item that is just out of reach. Hinata looked over the technical terms, the hand signs, and the needed shape of the wind to create the vacuum. I'll try it out, see how it suits me, Hinata said. Okay then, Q, add it to the list, Naruto said, and then he turned to his fiancée, another scroll in hand. How about this one? He asked, handing her the scroll. Kase no Jaiva. A-rank ninjutsu. This jutsu creates a blade out of wind, which, being wind, makes it impossible to block. However, unlike the Kamaitachi no jutsu, this jutsu requires no tool. This one sounds very promising, Hinata said as she looked it over. Do you think that's enough? Naruto asked her. It better be enough, Kyubi said. Naruto and Hinata both looked over at him. He had 10 scrolls piled in his arms. Yeah, I think it's enough. Hinata said to him. Good. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to bed. Hinata looked at him with a confused expression. Naruto replied by simply pointing to the clock he had set up in the room. Its face read 10 p.m. Already, she asked herself. Over the next 2 days, Hinata tirelessly trained with her new jutsus. At the end of the second day, she had decided to keep 4 of them. The Vortex Punch, the Kaze no Yaiba, the Whirlwind of Kunai, and its more powerful sister jutsu, the Great Whirlwind of Kunai. And then the Hokage called them to her office. Kyuubi, Hinata, and Naruto dressed in their ninja gear, each with a kunai holder filled to the brink with weapons, and the fox blade at Naruto's side. They entered her office, and she made a half scowl. There was silence for a minute. The Tsunade began. You may have won our bet, but you're still going to have to prove yourself as a team before you even think about getting a mission on yourself. Naruto reverted to his masked face. What? How on earth are we supposed to do anything when we can't even reach our full potential? Calm down, Naruto. Hinata scolded her boyfriend. She probably has a good reason for holding us back. Tsunade sighed, while Sarutobi slightly thanked the heavens for not having to deal with this headache. Luckily, the third teammate stepped in. Shut up, the both of you. Jeez, you're like a couple of kids. She's testing our abilities as a team, how we work together as a team, and how we work with other teams. The 2 teammates looked at each other, and then at the reigning Hokage, who simply nodded. Apparently, you're the brains of the team, Tsunade said to Kyuubi. Kyuubi smiled and replied, I like to think so anyway. Okay, so who are we paired with? Naruto asked, deciding to go along with the idea. You're going with Team 8 on a C-rank reconnaissance mission. Okay, so where are they? They'll be here shortly. Naruto got a huge grin on his face. Then would you mind if we disappeared for a sec? Kiba walked into the Hokage's office. He was barely there as he listlessly listened to the Sannin. Then something caught his attention. Your team will be paired with the newly formed Team Fox, who have disappeared for a second but will be back shortly dash. As soon as she said the words, the office was covered in smoke. A howl sounded in the distance when suddenly a horse-sized six-tail fox appeared. He gave a loud roar, which nearly deafened everyone in the room. Then they heard a crazed laughter. They looked and saw Naruto riding on its head, laughing his head off. Suddenly, behind them, they felt a huge release of killing intent. They turned and saw a huge image of a 9-tailed fox. Shino turned back just in time to see their late teammate step out of a lilac blossom. Was that sure enough, Hokage-sama? Naruto asked as the fox he was riding disappeared in a puff of smoke. Very impressive, highly original, don't do it again, Tsunade said. Hey Q, Hinata asked as the boss fox walked over. You really need to go last next time? Only one of them barely saw my entrance. Well, excuse me, Kyuubi said, sarcasm dripping from his voice. Hinata let it drop and decided to say hi to her former teammates. Ishinu, Kiba. It looks like we'll get a couple of more missions together. Naruto looked at them, evaluating them. Shino would be okay to work with. He was cool and level-headed. Kiba, on the other hand, would be impossible. There's no telling how he would act, especially if he was still sore after the Chunin exam prelims. Oh well, I'll just beat him again if he's too much trouble. Akamaru and Kyuubi were acting like the canines they were and sniffing at each other. Thankfully, Kyuubi at least had the decency to change into a smaller version of his fox form, so it didn't make it look too weird. Kurenai looked at the scene of the 2 teams temporarily joining. She foresaw many headaches. All right, we'll take care of the formalities later. You have 1 hour to get ready meet at the village gate. Naruto said, I'll be there. Then he shined away, quickly followed by Hinata and Kyuubi. Kurenai, I'll expect a full report on how their team interacts with yours, Tsunade said. Happy hunting. She nodded and escorted her team out. Tsunade put her hands to her forehead. Why'd I take this job again? Sabutori sighed. You wanted to see this young man who has guaranteed himself the title of Hokage, and how you wanted the honor of being the one to hand him the Hokage's hat. Tsunade grunted. What on earth was I thinking? Naruto was packing the usual stuff: clothes, ramen, weapons, ramen, toiletries, Ramen, a book for the trip, ramen. Oh, and did I mention ramen? Finally, after being satisfied with his pack, he walked into the hallway and waited for his future wife. She came out with her own bag, while QB just walked out of his room. When you have as much spiritual power that QB had, you don't really need anything. They headed out to the gate, and they waited for the others to get there. Kiba, Kurenai, and Shino all came around at the designated time. Okay, Kurenai said, our target is a meeting with a Kumo Chunin and an IWA Chunin. We are not to interfere with the meeting, but if they attack, we have permission to take them out. Good. I haven't had a good tasting IWA in the last 20 years. QB said. Kiba looked at the fox with a newfound fear in his eyes. This guy ate people. Okay then, let's get going. Naruto said as he picked up his bag. You heard him, Hinata said, pushing her former teammates ahead of her. Get going. Kurenai sighed. What have you done to my student, Naruto? Lovely day. Naruto mumbled as the party walked along the path through the forest. QB agreed with a grunt. Don't grunt. You sound like Sasuke when you grunt. Naruto told him. Needless to say, QB never grunted again. Hinata, meanwhile, was keeping a love-struck Kiba at bay. Come on, just one dinner? We don't even have to call a date. No. Please. No. Pretty please. No. Oh, come on, please. For the last time, no. Why not? Hinata sighed. You are aware that I'm engaged to Naruto, right? Kiba looked like the world had ended right there. I'm engaged to Naruto, have been since birth. Oh. Hinata smiled at him. Don't worry. I'm sure you'll find a nice girl one day. It just won't be me. Hinata went up to catch up with her boyfriend. I told you she wouldn't go on a date with you. Shino said to Kiba. Shut up, butt boy. Kiba growled. Even though no one could see it, Shino was smiling underneath his large coat neck. It wasn't long after Kiba realized his love interest can't and wouldn't give him the light of day. He began a rather one-sided, if that contest against Naruto to outdo him in any way, shape, or form. Kiba threw a kunai at a nearby tree branch and clipped off a leaf. Beat that, fox boy. Naruto looked at him. What did you do? Kiba's sweat dropped. I hit a leaf off a branch with a kunai. Only one? Naruto lazily threw a kwani up into the air. It whizzed past a couple of branches, then stuck itself into a tree branch. Naruto made a shadow clone and sent it after the knife. Once the clone returned, he lifted it back up to reveal 5 leaves pinned to the tip. Like I said, only one. Kiba shut up and began to look for something else he could try to outdo Naruto in. Meanwhile, QB and Akamaru were discussing how some humans the most impossible beings to deal with. Needless to say, they both agreed. Later that night, as the party sat around the campfire, QB served dinner. It was enjoyed by everyone, except Naruto and Hinata, who lovingly shared a cup of, I'll give you 3 guesses, ramen. QB's dish was a fillet of some kind of meat, some vegetables, and rice. They sat down and thanked QB for the dinner. While trying to ignore the slurping/eating/kissing of the couple over to the right, they enjoyed their meal greatly. Hey QB, asked Kiba, what is this? QB got a big smile on his face. Well, it's a secret kitsune recipe. It's rice, carrots, celery, and dog meat spiced with dash. QB was suddenly interrupted by Kiba trying to spit the food out as fast as possible. Puffed, get out. Puffed, get out. Akamaru, where are you? The other 2 members of Team 8 suddenly realized that the presence of said canine companion was missing. They both turned white and looked down at their plates. Kiba was frantically looking around while Naruto, QB, and Hinata looked like they were about to burst in a holding your gut laugh until it hurts kind of laughs. Finally, they couldn't take it anymore. Ha 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 ha. Oh, that's rich. Kiba was about ready to pound them. He grabbed the laughing Naruto by the collar. What's so funny, Namikaze? It's it's not dog meat. We played a joke on you, Kiba, Hinata said as she picked herself off the ground. But where's Akamaru? He's under the kit's coat. QB told them. Naruto then explained his words by deactivating a section of his coat that wasn't there before. Under that section of the coat was a large bulge, which walked out from it to reveal the large dog. Then slowly the new section of coat receded back to the main body of the coat. They looked at Naruto confused. The coat can change to my liking when I pump enough chakra into it. Rather nice feature, actually. Well, I'm going to bed now. He stopped to kiss Hinata before going into the tent. Good night, my angel. The next day went much like the first. Kiba was trying to outdo Naruto and failing. Shino was enjoying watching his teammate fail so miserably, while Kurenai watched and took note of Hinata's changes. At lunch, Kiba barely touched the food Kyuubi prepared and went to hunt for his own. After lunch, they began their travels again. Halfway between lunch and dinner, Kurenai gave a hand signal. All of the teens that had been on Team 8 nodded, and Hinata whispered something into Kyuubi's ear. He nodded and sent a mental message to Naruto. We are approaching the target. Proceed in silence and with caution. Naruto did so. They silently approached. Hinata had her Byakugan active and was no doubt scanning the area. Kiba, Kyuubi, Akamaru, and Naruto were all sniffing the air, while Shino had sent some bugs forward. Naruto found a scent and began to cautiously follow it. Soon he was followed by his fellow sensitive smellers. They found 3 Kyumonins standing in a clearing. Kiba whistled the song of a sparrow, and soon Shino, Hinata, a Kurenai appeared next to them. Soon 3 IWA Nins appeared, coming out of the tree line. You better have a good reason for this as a meeting place. One of the IWA Nins complained to a Kyumonin. Shut up. Do you want every Konoha Nin to hear you? Now come over here and I will tell you the plans. The 2 Nins approached each other and began whispering to each other. None of the Konoha Nins could hear them. Then suddenly, Naruto rippled into invisibility. Hinata smiled and relaxed. Her man would get the information. Suddenly, the IWA Nin back fisted the air next to him, and Naruto, suddenly becoming visible, went flying to the ground. Impressive, Naruto said, lying there. How did you know I was there? I felt your footsteps. Now prepare to die, the IWA Nin said. Then Naruto stood up, revealing the coat and his other attire. The IWA Nin froze, recognizing the coat and the blonde hair. Naruto smiled. No, I'm much worse. Naruto then formed one of the jutsus that all IWA Nins feared. Rasengan. The IWA Chunin had 1 second to think before his chest became nothing but dust. Now who's next? Naruto asked. The IWA Nins broke for it, only to be intercepted by a 7-tailed fox with a huge sword. The last thing they did was scream. The fox came back into the clearing, carrying the heads of the IWA Nins. Thank you, Cloud. Cloud is owned by Square Enix, not me. Cloud grunted and disappeared in a puff of smoke. Naruto turned to the Kyumonins. Now, one of you gets to live. The other 2 will die a horrible and painful death. If you answer my questions to my liking, I may change my mind. Which one of you would like to answer my first question? The Kyumo Chunin charged, only to be caught in 2 rock foot restraints. Okay, you'll be a good candidate. What is your rank? The Kyumonin glared at him and began some hand signs. He never got to finish. Naruto shot him with a bolt of lightning chakra, knocking him out. Naruto looked at the other 2 Kyumonins. So, no one's going to talk? I guess I'll just have to kill you after an integration specialist has had his way. Both Kyumonins were suddenly knocked out, and the last thing they saw was a puff of smoke and a very scary man coming toward them. The 3 Kyumonins woke up in the most uncomfortable position, upside down. Naruto walked up to them, a shadow clone in his presence. So you've returned to the land of the living. How unfortunate for you. The shadow clone spoke up, since you guys woke up early. I guess I'll have to introduce you to the replacement interrogation specialist. The clone motioned to his real self. And here he is. The clone dispersed, and Naruto got a sadistic smile on his face. Team Eta Kyuubi were sitting around the campfire, eating and listening to the bone-chilling screams of the Kyumonins. Kiba shivered as another scream echoed through the woods. Geez, what on earth is he doing to them? Hinata drank a small cup of tea as she listened to her teammate's question. The Namakazes were excellent interrogation specialists. Naruto is simply reviving his clan's ideas, and as soon as I'm married to him, he'll be reviving the clan physically. Another scream. In fact, I remember one time where he created his own technique for torture. What happened? Kiba asked. Well, first let me begin by telling you that Naruto developed a new taijutsu, the Kubikin. Kubikin is like the Jukin with Goken mixed together. So you have powerful Goken punches combined with the Jukin chakra injection technique. Now that you know the history, it's time for the story. We were in the Forest of Death during our 4-year training mission, and some idiot genin came at us looking for the scrolls Anko gave us. One of them had the nerve to hit on me. Hinata smiled at the memory. Naruto was so mad he used a Kubikin strike to the guy's goods, and if I believe correctly, there was so much chakra pumped into that attack, they exploded. Kiba blinked. What exploded? He asked, wondering if he heard that right. His family jewels. A really high-pitched scream echoed amongst the trees. Kiba, if I were you, I'd thank heaven for being my teammate. Anything less, and well, let's just say your love life would have been very boring. Kiba took her up on that. All right, I'll talk. One bloodied Kumonin said, please, no more. One of his teammates, who had just recently lost the ability to speak, nodded and mouthed the word please. The third was in too much pain to think and simply rolled on the ground, whimpering and holding on to the place where a very important part of his anatomy had been. Naruto looked at them. Okay, see you in the morning. They were all hit with a lightning bolt, and then they went unconscious. Naruto walked back into the camp. Kyubi healed them enough so they stopped bleeding. Cube nodded and went over to Naruto's handiwork. Said blonde-haired ninja sat down and said something they never would think of asking after doing what he did. Please pass the mashed potatoes and gravy. As soon as Team Fox and Team 8 came back to Konoha, they went directly to Hokage Tower. There they dropped off the more than eager to get away from Naruto Kumonins with Ibiki, who was slightly bummed at having damaged goods, but took them nonetheless. Then Naruto, who was within hearing distance of the Kumonins, said rather loudly, if they give you any trouble, just call me. They were the easiest victims Ibiki ever had. They then went to the Hokage to report. To say the least, she wasn't exactly thrilled that the mission didn't go as planned, but was happy that they would know what Kumo and IWA were up to. She paid them, then dismissed them, except Kurenai, who was to tell her how well the two teams got along. They were surprisingly cooperative, and Naruto's many skills were greatly needed. In fact, if it were not an IWA Nin, Naruto would have probably heard everything and left unnoticed. Thank you, Kurenai. You may go, Tusnade said. Kurenai bowed and left. As soon as the door closed, Sarutobi coughed. Tsunade looked very annoyed for a second. Yeah. Hold your horses, old man. She dug into one of her pockets and pulled out 100 Ryo. I have the worst of luck, she said as she handed it to him. Naruto and his fiancée walked into the council room, and it immediately went silent. Naruto walked up to the only empty seats in the room and sat down on it, filling them for the first time. Finally, Danzo stood up. What are you doing here, Dem? Boy, instantly changing his choice of words when he saw the glare coming at him from the third and fifth. I see for once you have decided to hold your tongue, Danzo, Naruto said, his face expressionless. As most of you know, I'm the heir of the Namikaze household. Since my father, may he rest in peace, is unable to perform his duties as the clan head, I'm taking up the role with Miss Hyuga as my advisor. This is an outrage, Danzo yelled. This boy cannot be Namikaze's heir. It is impossible. Naruto stood up. It is also impossible for Root to still exist. But does it? Silence. Thoughts were flying through almost everyone's minds. Root? Didn't Sandaime discontinue that program? Hayashi wondered. I thought I told him to end Root. Sarutobi mentally yelled. Does he know about that? No. No one knows that it still exists. Danzo thought. What are you getting at, boy? Naruto smiled. What if I told you I had undeniable proof that Root exists? Danzo laughed. I'd say that would be the biggest lie I've heard in my life. Naruto smiled. Really? Tell me, Danzo, does the name Su mean anything to you? No, it is just a name. Danzo lied. It did mean something to him. It was the name of one of the most rebellious students he had ever had. It was a miracle the boy was alive, The boy had a beating at least once a day for activities that Danzo would never allow in his program, namely playing games, smiling, and every once in a while crying. Really? Well, let's ask him, shall we? With a simple flare of Naruto's coat, a young boy came into view. His skin was a sickly pale color, and he looked like he hadn't had a meal in weeks. Shuza Akimichi looked at the boy's showing ribcage and wondered if it was possible to survive being that thin. Danzo, in a rare show of emotion, paled. This is Siu, last name unknown. I personally retrieved him from the root complex that should no longer exist. He shot a glare toward Danzo. Siu is beaten at least once a day for smiling an earnest smile. He is whipped for making up and playing games. This boy has not once seen the sun. If this boy were to look at a tree, he would see nothing but what it is according to science, the beauty of it completely lost on him. Well, why don't I let the boy speak for himself? Siu looked at Danzo, a fire of hatred in his eyes. That's the man. He killed my friends. He beat me. He destroyed my life. The boy began to breathe heavily. You made me lose my humanity. The boy began to cry, but tried to stop himself out of habit. Hinata took him up and hugged the boy, telling him it was okay to cry. Take him to our house. Naruto told Hinata. Naruto turned to look at the council. There is a saying, there's always someone who has it worse off than you. After my childhood, I thought I was that someone, then I saw what this thing is doing to children. I knew my last name. These children don't even know what a last name is. I had hope of starting a family in the Uzumaki name. If these children even thought of hope, they would be struck down. And the worst part is that it is being done in our name. Do you know what that means? That means that all of Konohagakure is responsible for this atrocity. I can see Kirigakure if they knew about this. I can see them saying, and they called us cruel for our methods. We teach them pain by having them kill each other. They wipe out humanity altogether. I can see Iwagakure. See what evil they hide behind their gates? We cannot let this evil continue. I see Kumogakure and Sunagakure. This is our ally. We cannot be affiliated with such cruelty. If you add all of this together, you have another great shinobi war and Konoha on the losing side. Is that what we want? Do we want Konoha destroyed because of one man's disobedience? I'd rather die. I will not let this evil continue. I would disown Konoha and throw away my dream of being Hokage if this is the kind of man I would have to lead. The council was silent. This was a very serious matter. If Naruto was correct about this accusation, then Danzo's head would have a new home. If it was a false accusation, then Naruto would be shamed and most probably be put to death. Then Danzo spoke up. You have no proof against me. That kid could have been pulled off the street, and every word he said would have been a lie for a meal. If you plan to carry out your accusation, I suggest you find proof. Naruto smiled a foxy smile. I plan on doing just that if the council will follow me. Naruto walked to the door. He was followed by Hayashi, then by Chuza, Shikaku, and Inochi and the Hokages. Then Shibi Aburame and some Inuzuka followed. Danzo stood, wondering what was the boy doing. Then something he had said came back to him. I personally retrieved him from the root complex. That could only mean one thing. He had to stop that boy. Naruto led the council members down a long hallway, when suddenly 2 root ANBU agents appeared. You will go no further, one said. Tsunade walked up to them. Stand down. He has my permission to be here. I'm sorry, Hokage-sama, but none of you are allowed to go any further. What? You will let us pass. I'm sorry, Hokage-sama, but none of you are allowed to go any further. He said again. What? She reared her hand back ready to strike the man, only to be stopped by Naruto. Calm down, Hokage-sama, Naruto said. He stepped in front of her, his back facing the ANBU. Allow me, he said. Before either could react, he punched both of them straight in the jaw, pinning kunai jutsu. The 2 ANBU suddenly found themselves stuck to the floor, pinned by a dozen kunai. This way, please, Naruto said as he continued to lead them. Finally, they came to a large room with 3 chairs and a bookcase. Naruto walked over to the bookcase and started pushing it out of the way. Then they saw it. The council members stood at the top of a huge cylindrical room. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the root complex. Danzo hobbled down the hallway. He had to keep them away from that room. Hopefully, His root AMBU agents should have stooped them. He turned a corner and saw a sight that he had hoped he would never see. His two agents were pinned to the ground by dozens of kunai. Then he looked down the hallway into the room. The bookcase had been moved. Oh no. He had to get out of there. He couldn't let them catch him. If they got his hands on him, he'd be executed. He turned to hobble out of there, but then saw another sight he had hoped he would never see. In front of him stood Kyubi. Naruto looked down at the chain that held the toddlers and broke it with a quick slash of his sword. "Why are you doing that?" one of the toddlers asked. "Because I'm here to show you emotion." "What's emotion?" Naruto smiled at the boy. Emotion is being happy or sad, loving and hating, being angry or confused. But the rules say we can't be happy. Tsunade looked at the boy. "Well, I'm the Hokage, and I'm changing the rules." Kyubi dragged the very much in trouble Danzo down the hallway to the council members. He threw him at their feet. "Here is the man responsible for this. What do you want to do with him?" "Execute him." Shuza said, "Children should not be put through this kind of torture." "I agree with my teammate." Shikaku said, every hint of laziness gone upon seeing this injustice. "I too agree with my teammate." Inochi said, "I'd rather die than watch this scum live another day." Some said. Shibi too agreed. Logic may say that emotion would get in the way, but to annihilate it completely, that destroys one's humanity. If Danzo continues to live, then the Aburame will no longer be a clan of Konoha. And the Hyuga will join you. Hayashi said. The council too ran to Naruto. "I cannot let him live." Naruto said, "I cannot be Kage of a village that gives people like you life." "So be it." Tsunade said, "Danzo, at the soonest possible moment, you will be beheaded. Which one of you would like the honors?" The council members looked at each other, wondering who would do it. "I would," a new voice said. The council members turned to see who had spoken up. It was a thin boy with the same sickly pale skin as Siu. He wore black, had black hair, and had a brush and scroll in his hand. Danzo looked up at him. "Sai?" Danzo asked. "Yes, Danzo, I want to be the one to cut your head off. You ruined my chance to be human. I may never get that back, but if I can stop you from doing this to any other child, then it will be for the good of the village." "Sounds good to me," Naruto said. The rest of the council quickly agreed. Tsunade turned to Sai. "Whenever you are ready." Sai nodded and unrolled the scroll. He drew a sword with his ink brush. Ink sword jutsu. The sword jumped from the paper to his hands. Danzo began to squirm away, but was stopped by the bone breaker, jutsu. Sai lifted the sword high above his head and brought it down. Naruto stared at the corpse. What a first day. Naruto came home to his fiancée and Siu, who had stopped crying naturally, and when he saw Naruto, he ran to thank him. He hugged Naruto's legs tightly. "Thank you so much, Naruto-san. Thank you so very much." He began to cry with joy. "It was the only thing I could do. I couldn't let Danzo use you. It just wouldn't be right." Just then, Kyubi walked in. "Naruto, there are some people who want to see you." Naruto nodded. "Hey, Siu, I need to go talk to someone." Siu nodded and let go hesitantly. He went to the door to see Sai and many others of the root refugees. Sai bowed and the rest did also. "Namik-san, we wish thank you for your service to us, and we wish to repay you. Is there anything we can do for you?" "Anything at all." Naruto stared at them, each now with a slight glint of emotion in their eyes. It was small, but it was there. "Do not ask me what you would do. Instead, ask yourselves, what is it that you want most in life? If it is emotion, search it out. If it is a family, make one. If it is to become the greatest Hokage, then get in line." Someone actually laughed. It was small, but like the emotion in their eyes, it was there. "But if there is anything you want to do for me, take each other and support each other in your goals, become something, make yourselves a force to be reckoned with. Have it so that if one of you is challenged, he has challenged all of you. Rise from the ashes of this catastrophe and become something new." "Naruto-san," Siu asked from inside the house. "What are they doing here?" "I think they should answer that," Naruto said. Sai looked Naruto, then Siu. Finally, he looked at the congregation behind him. Finally, he picked up Siu and placed him on his shoulders. Siu laughed, and Sai felt something in his heart when he heard it. "We've come to pick up you, Siu. After all, the Phoenix clan has to stick together." Everyone that stood behind couldn't agree more to his choice. And before Naruto's eyes, the Phoenix clan was born. The sun rose on the village of Konoha. It was a peaceful day until the Hokage looked into her mirror. A black and orange blur was then witnessed to be running to the Namake's mansion. Kyubi, who never slept, answered the door. Hello, Kyubi-sama. Konohamaru, Kyubi sighed. For some reason, I'm not surprised that you would do something to Hokage-sama. Konohamaru looked down at his feet. You heard that, huh? Kid, everyone heard that. The kids woke up because of that. Okay, yeah, that's the reason why I'm here actually. Suddenly the sound of pavement cracking and wood shattering echoed from down the street. Konohamaru, said boy paled. Kyubi looked at him. Let me guess you signed your name. Konohamaru gave a weak smile. Kyubi looked down on him. You do know what will happen to Naruto if Tsunade found you here? Possible death? Quite possible death. Okay, I'll see if I can. More sounds of destruction erupted behind them. Where are you, Konohamaru? Kyubi looked at the poor boy. Okay, look, there is a secret passage from here to the Hokage monument. I'll let you take that. Thank you, Kyubi-sama. Konohamaru bowed to Kyubi, then ran inside. Naruto walked to the door to see the Hokage with a green face, black rings around her eyes, and the name Konohamaru written on her forehead. He nearly laughed directly in her face. Luckily, he stopped himself. Where is he? I'm going to guess. You mean Konohamaru, right? No idea. Shut up. Where is he? Which one would you like me to answer to first? Tsunade glared at him. I really don't know. He's your protege. You should be held responsible. Like I'd have the nerve to do that to you. If I had a death wish, maybe. You got him started on this prank streak. He's not even my protege. Check the Hokage monument, Kyubi said as he walked past them, but you didn't hear it from me. They blinked. Thanks, Tsunade said. Oh, and Naruto were having another council meeting today, since most of our schedule was taken by the Danzo scandal. Gotcha, Naruto sighed. Oh, and Saifenikasu, Phoenix, will be there. So, it's official? Yup. Cool, I'll be there. Hinata walked into the hallway, still in her nightgown. She yawned. What was that all about? I'm not really sure, but we have a council meeting today. Okay, I'll go eat before I get ready. Okay, I'll see you there. Yeah, I'll be there, Hinata said. Naruto and Hinata came back from the meeting, bored out of their ever-loving minds. I feel sorry for anyone who ever had to attend those meetings, Hinata complained. I know, during Tsunade's speech about Konoha's academy developments, I could start to feel my brains melt. I would have thought they melted long ago, a voice said. The two whirled around to see a man in a black cloak with red clouds etched into it. Beside him stood a blue man in the same cloak. Naruto recognized him. Itachi. So, you're Naruto Namake's, huh? Not much to look at, the blue man said. Shut up, Kisame. Itachi said. Kisame, huh? I was wondering who in the Akatsuki had to be paired with a walking sushi roll. Itachi almost smiled. Kisame almost killed him. You're going to die for that one, Namake's. Naruto ignored him and began to look around. Hinata, can you find him? Hinata activated her Byakugan and searched the house for the Nine Tails. He in the basement. Itachi and Kisame looked slightly confused. Who are they talking about? Oh well, not that it mattered. Anything less than the Hokage herself wouldn't stop them. Unfortunately, what ran into Kisame was more than a Hokage. Here comes the boom, Kyubi cried as he launched himself into the Shark Man. Kisame went flying to the opposite wall, but before he could reach it, he was met by Naruto's fist. Man, I've always wanted to say that. Itachi stood wide-eyed. Kyubi, you're free? Kyubi didn't look at him, but jumped over to the others, as free as a trusted servant. Itachi stared at them. Impressive, Naruto. You found a way to let Kyubi out. Well, genius is as genius does, Naruto said with a smirk. I completely agree with you, especially since I was one of those geniuses. Hinata stepped forward. Genius this, Shugo hack Rokujuyan show. Itachi silently thanked his blood for giving him the Sharingan. Without it, he would have defiantly been impaled by the thousand upon thousands of chakra beams that came at him. Unfortunately, it does not have the 360-degree sight of the Byakugan. A Naruto shadow clone landed a kick to Itachi's head. Itachi then, in one smooth movement, stabbed the clone with a hidden kunai. Unfortunately for him, he had to turn his back again. Naruto acted immediately. Itachi turned just in time to see a Rasengan fly towards his head. He ducked, but not fast enough to seize his ponytail. Hey, it took me forever to grow that. Well, it took me a second to cut it. Naruto smiled. Itachi growled. We'll try this on for size. Manjikyu Sharingan. Amaterasu. Instantly the black flames jumped from Itachi's mouth. Naruto quickly pulled out a scroll. Fukahoin. A thick smoke quickly enveloped the flames. Then the smoke receded back into the scroll, and the kanji seal appeared and glowed a faint red. Sweet. That worked. I'm about to meet this Jiraiya dude. Itachi growled again. Well, how about this? Tsukuyami. Instantly, Naruto and Itachi were sucked from their reality into a world of darkness. Naruto looked around. Nothing. Suddenly, Itachi came into view. So, how's Sasuke been? He asked. Well, it's hard to say, Naruto began, but I believe that I'm reaching him. That's good, Itachi said. How are things in the Akatsuki? He shrugged. It could be worse. They could have paired me with this idiot named Toby. There was a brief, awkward silence as the two foes stood. So, how are we going to do this? Oh, all right. Well, you could technically punch me out of the jutsu, but it's just a theory. Or I could torture you for 3 days and hope your girlfriend lets me live. I think it'd be best if I punched you. Itachi nodded. Sounds good. He readied himself for the blow. Naruto gave him a very hard punch. Itachi flew backwards and hit the wall. He got up shakily. Blood ran down his lip. He really hated how that jutsu took up so much chakra. Naruto also got up, arm around his stomach, seemingly in pain. Now would be a good time to retreat. You have proven yourself, Naruto. Itachi turned and began to walk away. He stopped for a second. Do what you will with my partner. And then he disappeared. Kyuubi went to get Anbu, while Naruto pinned the unconscious Kisame to the ground with the Bone Breaker Jutsu. He then spent the next 6 minutes feigning pain. He then spent the next 6 minutes feigning mock strength as the Hokage questioned him on what happened. It's nothing, really. Nonsense. That Tsukuyami is one of the most dangerous Genjutsus in the world, and you expect me to believe you came out unscathed? Now you're going to stay in bed for a week. Do you understand? Naruto hung his head in defeat. Yes, Hokage-sama. Good, now I'm going to question Kisame. Hinata, Kyuubi, do you wish to join me? I'll stay here with Naruto, Hinata said, without even thinking twice. I'll go. You may need help opening that sushi roll. Kyuubi said. Hey, Q, send the memories. I want to see that, Naruto said as Hinata helped him up to his room. Will do, kid. I won't tell you anything, the shark man said. Ibiki shied this guy was tough. Perfect. It was time to begin the torture. Suddenly a light turned on. Ibiki grumbled and headed to the back room. There the Hokage stood with Kyuubi. Tsunade looked at the interrogation specialist. How are things going? I've used all of my scare tactics, so I was going to start torturing him. Would you mind if I helped? Kyuubi asked. Sure, why? I haven't had fish in years. Kyuubi said, sadistically. Man, that's freaky. Ibiki mumbled. They entered the interrogation room with big, creepy grins on their faces. How many times do I have to tell you I want tea talk? That's fine. You don't have to talk, Kyuubi said, but you do have to squeal. Who are you? Kisame asked. You mean you don't know? Kyuubi looked shocked. Then he smiled and began to transform. I am your worst nightmare. Kisame was too stunned to comprehend what had just happened. But the next words did register. I'm hungry, and you look good enough to eat. Maybe it was living with Zetsu that taught to fear cannibals, or maybe living with immortals taught him to fear death. Or maybe even it was living and working with a crazed psychopath who killed his entire family that taught him to fear mass murderers. Whatever it was, though, Kisame suddenly learned what fear really was. Naruto shivered at the memories that Kyuubi just sent him. That was one sadistic fox. Maybe that's why he made such good friends with Dad. Ouch, Naruto said in false pain as Hinata gave him a rather soothing neck massage. Are you sure you'll be okay? Hinata asked her fiancé. I'll be fine. That Itachi is just a pushover. As soon as you punch him once, he runs. Hinata rolled her eyes. This guy was unbelievable. Yet, she loved him. So what are we going to do for the next week? Well, according to the Hokage's orders, I have to stay in bed. Then again, I never was one for following orders. On the other hand, she'd probably come back and tie me to the bed if I ever got caught. Then again, I have almost never been caught. But on the other, stop it, Hinata nearly yelled. You are going to stay in bed. I will go get some groceries and train. Once Kyuubi gets back, he'll help me move the TV to your room. Ugh. Naruto just smiled. You think of everything, don't you? It would seem so. Hinata skayed as she turned to go to her tasks. Yet another reason why I love you. Then Naruto curled up and went to sleep. All right. I'll talk, Kisame cried. Kyuubi belched. About time. I was about to ask for some tartar sauce. Please, no more. Please. Kyuubi smirked, then looked to Ibiki. The man had a scroll in front of him where he kept large needles of various sizes and contents. Beside was a pad of notebook paper. This Kyuubi was a gold mine of ideas. The light at the back of the room came on, and Kyuubi and Ibiki both returned to the back room. The Hokage sat there. Will he talk? Oh, he'll talk, Ibiki said, with the most frightening smile on his face. Tsunade was almost afraid to look into the room. She dared a glance, and immediately wished she hadn't. She saw the poor man, huddled in a corner, rocking back and forth, missing both arms. That in itself wasn't too bad. What was bad was that one of those arms was on a spit over a fire. She could only imagine what happened to the other arm. Kyuubi belched again. Oh yeah, I forgot sushi gives me gas. Well, he wants some. He offered a seaweed roll to Tsunade. She looked like she was going to puke. The week seemed to drag slowly on, especially for the perfectly fit Naruto. I'm telling you I'm fine now. Let me do something. The Hokage said 1 week Naruto. You're staying right there. Hinata said. Oh, come on. Ask Kyuubi knows how healthy I am. Don't drag me into this. The fox said. Come on. I'll do chores if I have to. Just let me get out of bed. Hinata, in a shadow clone of herself, took some rope and tied it around him, so he was bound to the bed. This isn't fair. As soon as the week finished, they were called to the Hokage Tower. Team Fox entered in a very dramatic way. Naruto rode on the huge fox. Hinata appeared in the lilac blossom, and Kyuubi made his giant entrance, complete with suffocating killer intent. I thought I told you not to do that, Aegean. Tsunade grumbled. Sorry, couldn't help myself, Naruto said with a smirk. They didn't have to wait long before the other team came in. Naruto, who had been relaxing on the Six Tails' back, nearly fell over onto the floor. There before them stood Team 7. There was silence for a brief moment. Then Naruto noticed something. Kakashi, I'm hurt. You've already found a replacement for me? Don't go too hard on him, Naruto, Sai said. He only wants what's best for his team. Naruto smiled. Well, then I guess you're okay. Hey, Dobe, what's up with you having a team to yourself? Sasuke said in a friendly manner. Why team? Jealous? Naruto asked jokingly. Hinata stepped in. Now, Naruto, don't insult Sasuke. He has a lot of stuff to worry about that you don't have to. All right, Naruto said as he suddenly lifted the girl of his dreams into his arms. But only because you said so. Sakura's, I teared. She longed for someone to do that to her. Hinata was so lucky to have a boyfriend as caring as Naruto. Suddenly the last thought struck her as odd. She would have never paired the words Naruto and caring in the same sentence. The Hokage coughed. Are you two going to accept this mission, or are you going to just stare into each other's eyes all day? Naruto pondered on the question. Well, staring into her eyes all day is something I gladly do any day of week. In fact, it would take a bag tied around my head to keep me from staring. Naruto. Oh, all right. Okay, you have a difficult mission this time. After interrogating the Kumonins Naruto caught, we have found out that IWA was going to ask Kumo for plans on our walls. This is very serious. If our wall are breached, it could be a massacre against Konoha. But because IWA knows that we have found out due to them not returning, they may not try it and attempt something else. So what I want you to do is, she carefully picked her words, visit IWA and see how things are going. So you want us to spy on them? Sasuke asked. No, this is more of a diplomatic mission. I want you to gain audience with Tsuchikage and talk to him as my representative. Ah, I see. You're sending your most powerful ninjas to him to hopefully scare him out of attacking us. Correct. And with your father's history with IWA and your likeness to him, it should greatly help. That and QB. See, I knew he was good for something. Kakashi said. Whatever, Kakashi. Oh, one more thing. Tsunade said. You'll be accompanied by my teammate. It is I, Jiraiya, Mountain Toad Sage. Everyone turned around to see a white-haired man sitting on a large toad. I am the great Sannin, and author of... Tsunade back-fisted him, sending him flying to the other wall. If you ever mention the name of your stupid books within earshot of me, I will have you executed. He writes books? Naruto asked. Kakashi simply pulled out the copy of Ico Ica Paradise that he carried in his pouch and showed Naruto. Wow, my respect for him has just dropped like a rock. Tsunade let out a deep breath. Anyways, Jiraiya will accompany you for the negotiations. Any questions? Jiraiya, who had just picked himself off the floor, with much difficulty asked, Yeah, what's my dental plan? He held out his hand and spat out a tooth. Any other questions? There were none. Okay, you leave tomorrow. Naruto, is so not mine? That Tsuchikage paced the floor of his tower. He had just received a message from Konoha. Tsunade was sending some ninjas on a diplomatic mission. This wouldn't be too bad if his spies hadn't told him that one of them looked just like the Yondaime Hokage. This news was very distressing. On top of that, two other ninja swear Sasuke Yukihan copy Kakashi. What was she trying to do? Declare war. He had half a mind to kill them as they made their way here. If he did, however, he would be declaring the war. He had no choice but to let them come. He really hated Tsunade right now. A ninja appeared behind him. Sir, they're here. The Tsuchikage cursed under his breath. Send them in. Time to see how accurate his spies. Soon as he walked into the room, the Tsuchikage nearly fainted. He did look just like the Yondaime Hokage. Greetings, Tsuchikage-sama. I am Naruto Namikaze, son of Minato Namikaze, the Yondaime Hokage. The Tsuchikage poured some tea into Naruto's cup. It had taken him at least 3 minutes before the poor man recovered from seeing Naruto. Then it took 2 more before he could put enough words together to order some tea to be brought in. Finally, he composed himself enough to have a decent conversation. So, where are your teammates? The Tsuchikage asked. Sightseeing, Naruto answered. I would, but the chances of me being assassinated in the streets would be very high. Naruto sipped his tea. It would be, wouldn't it? The Tsuchikage said. I'm sorry, but I'm just too curious. Who are your teammates? Well, Team 7, my former team, is now composed of Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Hano, Saifen Ikusu, and is led by Kakashi Hitaki. My new team, Team Fox, is composed of myself, Hinata Hyuga, the Hyuga Hirus, and Kyubi no Kitsune. The Tsuchikage dropped his cup. Did you SSA KKK? Yes, Kyubi no Kitsune, the nine-tailed fox. You see, Kyubi had to fake his death after Orochimaru killed his family. Yondaime, who was a very good friend, offered to help him. Unfortunately, it went a little too far and my dad died. But with Orochimaru dead, he can resume his life, more or less. The Tsuchikage believed every word. Hook, line, and sinker. Well, I must say, Naruto-san, I'm very impressed with your teams. You must have been a very important person. Unfortunately, I wasn't. My heritage was kept a secret until I became a Chunin, and nobody really liked me. But anyways, to business. Somewhere in Awagakure, Sai was trying to enjoy himself. He found it fairly hard to do, seeing as how he had nearly no emotions. He ruined his life. He suddenly realized something and stopped walking for a second. He was angry. He was angry. His first emotion. Whoa. He continued walking. That was very new. Sakura was slightly annoyed at Naruto. It wasn't that he was mad at him. She was mad at his happiness. Hinata's too. How could they be so happy? Naruto was a loud, outspoken idiot, and Hinata, a shy, quiet little girl, and together they made the happiest couple in Konoha. What was wrong with this picture? Sasuke noticed her overflowing jealousy and sighed. He shouldn't bother. But that's what the old Sasuke would do, and he promised that the old Sasuke would never exist again. He sighed again. Ario, for your thoughts? Sasakura jumped at the question. He cared? Sweet. It's Naruto and Hinata. How can such opposites be so happy together? Well, I heard Naruto say the day they met he should have walked up to her and said, "Hi, I'm your other half." When did he say that? 2 days ago, when they were just sitting there in each other's arms. Oh, Jiraiya was walking along in the city, listening to the comments made by all of the old pervs. Isn't that Jiraiya? Who? Jiraiya, the writer of Ika Ika Paradise. Oh, that Jiraiya. Ika Ika is the best thing to come out of Konoha. Each comment only served to swell the Sanin's pride. However, one incident on the way to IWA managed to keep it in check. Flashback. Jiraiya was looking through his notes. With the flip of each page, the same thought pounded in his head. I need more material. Unfortunately for him, his new target was Hinata Hyuga. I would continue with retelling the events, but it would be a little too graphic for a T rating. So let's just say Jiraiya made a note to never, ever make Hinata into a character in his books. In flashback, his crotch still hurt. Kyuubi was enjoying the sights with Kakashi and Hinata. Kakashi enjoyed seeing the points of interest while Kyuubi told the story behind it. He should know he was there. And this is where the founders of Awagakure hung their first traitors. Notice the large spikes that are stationed below them. Cool. So, you see, if war was to be declared on Konoha, IWA would supply at the very least 6 teams for reinforcements. Naruto said as he explained some of the finer points of the treaty. Only 6 teams? Well, if what I've heard about IWA needs is true, that's all we'll need. The Tsuchikage smiled. He was such a suck-up, but he was believable enough to make him buy it. This kid was good. And in return, Konoha will supply IWA with any ninjas it needs if an invasion or battle is called on them. Suddenly, a resounding boom echoed in the city. What was that? Naruto and the Tsuchikage cried. Not waiting for an answer, both ninjas disappeared into the city. Hinata, Kakashi, and Kyuubi were tasting some IWA cuisine. It took them a couple of minutes to explain the situation to the owner of the restaurant, and after finally convincing him that they weren't there to kill everyone, they sat down to. An explosion rocked the ground beneath them. Quickly, the Konoha Neens jumped, leaving the waiter a tip. Maybe Konoha's not so bad. Jiraiya was doing some research at the bathhouse. These IWA chicks are so hot. Look at the hooters on that one. That one over there, she's cavier than a road. That girl over there is... Suddenly an explosion was heard. Jiraiya quickly forgot the women before him, and his mind went into what he liked to call Sanin mode. By the volume of the explosion, it was 3.4 kilometers east, roughly in the center of the city. It was created by special clay commonly found in IWA and used for explosives when pumped with chakra. Most known users of this clay are dead, with the exception of Deidara of the Akatsuki. All this passed through his head in the space of a second, and in another second he was gone. Sai had met up with Sakura and Sasuke halfway in between his walk, listening in on their conversation. So you don't believe that 2 halves make a whole? Sasuke asked. No, I think love is more like multiplication than addition. 2 wholes make 1. Sai sighed. If only emotions like love were as simple as mathematics. An explosion rocked. Danzo was good for something. Quick, Sai cried. Thanks to his training, he knew exactly where to go. To the center of the city. At the center of the city, 3 figures stood over a crater. See, Sasori-san, art's a blast. Oh. Whatever, a large, bent-over figure said. Will both of you stop it? We have a mission to do. Itachi, the 3rd figure said, why the leader pair me with idiots like you, I'll never know. Nobody move. A voice cried. The 3 of them looked up, and the top of the building stood 9 figures. Team 7, Team Fox, Jiraiya, and the Tsuchikage. The bent-over figure glared at the taller blonde one. I told you not to set off an explosion. I told you they'd hear you, but no. I'm sorry, Sasori-san. Oh. Suddenly, Naruto broke out laughing. Sasuke decided to ask why. What's so funny, though? Dude. Huh. I thought he was a chick. Huh. Sasuke started smiling. Naruto, he said, obviously holding back the floodgates to his laughter. That's not fun, huh? That's not fun, huh? That's not ha ha ha. Both of them started rolling on the ground. Finally, Hinata cracked and joined them. Okay, enough guys, we have a fight here. Kyuubi said. All right. Ilhalel makes sure to stop them. Deidara smirked. What can you do? Oh. Tsuchikage, I have 2 questions for you. Naruto said. What? The first one is if I bring you Deidara's head, will you sign the treaty? The Tsuchikage thought for a while, why not? Good. Second question, was Deidara a part of the IWA/Konoha war? Yes, actually. Good. Team Fox. Triple Namikaze barrage. Hi. Hinata and Kyuubi said, quickly starting to form a certain jutsu. In a hidden village like IWA, not too many people forget the past. One of those pasts was Yondaime Hokage. Some ninjas still had nightmares about him. There were 2 jutsus he used, and after the war, neither were mentioned in IWA. Until this day. Rasengan. 3 Rasengans came rushing at Deidara. Not for 20 years had he seen that jutsu. It scared him. Luckily for Deidara, Sasori wasn't in those battles. A giant puppet suddenly appeared in front of the XIWA Nin. Unluckily, whatever puppet it was completely and utterly destroyed as Kyuubi's Rasengan plunged into his chest. Hinata and Naruto ran at Deidara. Double Rasengan flying drill. Hinata and Naruto grabbed hands and began spinning in the air, forming Agetsuga-like attack. Deidara blinked. The next thing he felt was pain, inexplicable, excruciating. He felt like he was flying. Then the jolting pain returned. And then everything went black. Deidara lay there, his torso was gone, his legs were gone, his arms, no real surprise, were gone too, disintegrated by the new jutsu. All that was left was the head and a very small tail of skin, which was all that was left of his back. Naruto picked up the head by the hair. Too easy, and threw it at Tsuchikage's feet. You have a treaty to sign, Tsuchikage-sama. Everyone blinked. Team Fox had just killed a S-class ninja with 1 jutsu, not to mention the fact that they destroyed one of Sasori's puppets. Itachi glared. It looks like we should come back another time, Sasori. Sasori didn't hear him. His puppet was gone. Gone, no more. One of his most treasured objects in his life. With 1 attack, his puppet was dust. You'll pay for that. He reached into his robe and pulled out 4 scrolls. Kyuubi had seen those scrolls before. Don't let him open those scrolls. Team 7's turn to shine. Choju Giga! An ink dragon came flying at Sasori and rammed him, successfully knocking a scroll out of his hand. Sakura ran up to the giant hunchback man and showed everyone her true strength. She threw a punch at Sasori's jaw. He went flying straight up. No, seriously, he went flying. A rocket launch couldn't keep up with him. He was in the air for a full 10 seconds before landing. When he did, they saw the head was completely destroyed. An eyeball was hanging from a string, his jaw was off its bolt, and there was a large fist-shaped dent at the temple. Sasori got up, then stumbled. His legs were broken from a landing. He couldn't move anything. The punch had destroyed the puppet's neck. Sakura had hit hard and true. Sasori had no choice. A pop was heard, and the large hunchback figure fell, a lifeless puppet. Out from him rolled a small, skin-colored round object. On it was written the kanji Sasori, meaning scorpion. Naruto picked it up in his left hand. He looked at it for about 5 seconds and crushed it. Itachi stared at the 7 ninjas now facing him. Wait, 7? He quickly counted them. Where was Sasuke? Chidori. Sasuke's voice called from behind him. Itachi stood there. Suddenly, just as the ball of lightning was about to hit him, he turned into a log. The lightning died down after it charred the wood, and Sasuke began searching for his brother. Sorry, Sasuke. Everyone whirled in the direction the voice came from. Itachi stood on a building. I cannot die today. I must leave. Sasuke threw 4 kunai. They only hit air as Itachi disappeared. Sasuke jumped after him. He reached the building, but his brother was nowhere to be found. "No, where did you go, you coward? Come back and face me. I have to avenge our family. I have to kill you. Why did you do it?" Sasuke's fist quivered with rage. His face was twisted in anger, his onyx eyes holding a fire of hatred. The only thing that betrayed his anger was the single tear that hung on his cheek. "Why can't you let me kill you?" A hand fell on his shoulder. "Sasuke," Naruto's voice said, "he didn't want to cause you this much pain." "What? What does he mean by that?" Before he could ask, Naruto fell backwards asleep. Before Sasuke could react, Kyuubi came with Hinata over his shoulder. Without a word, he picked up Naruto and slung him over his other shoulder. As he stood up, he glanced at Sasuke's surprised face. The double Rasengan flying drill takes a lot of chakra. Then, without another word, he turned and left for the hotel. The next day, the Tsuchikage signed the treaty, and the alliance between Konoha and IWA was final. He would leave for Konoha in 2 days for the celebration that would be held. Teams 7 and Fox were given that time to head back and tell the Hokage to prepare. They went on the trail home, happy that the mission was an absolute success. Jiraiya asked Naruto how he developed the flying drill jutsu Naruto preformed the other day. Naruto only smiled and replied, "What can I say? I'm a Namikaze." "Well, kid, I have to say I like you. You wouldn't happen to need another team member, would you?" "Sorry, that'd be a bad idea. I mean, you have a clan head, a clan hierarch, and a Biju on the same team. That's pretty unfair as it is. A Sannin would only make things more unfair." Naruto smiled again, then ran ahead to catch up with his team. That night, as the teams sat around a fire, Sasuke approached Naruto with a question. "What did you mean yesterday?" "What do you mean? That he didn't want to cause me this much pain thing?" "What are you talking about, team? You said that Itachi didn't mean to cause me this much pain." "I did. Art." Sasuke was about to get in his sleeping bag when he heard a soft, wispy voice. "I will answer your question another day. When you're ready." When Teams Fox and 7 came back to Konoha, they immediately went to the Hokage Tower. Tsunade was pleased to hear that the Tsuchikage signed the treaty, but wasn't pleased that the two teams had gotten along, but was greatly pleased that Naruto had caused Jiraiya serious pain for researching on Hinata. When the teams had left, Tsunade was in a good mood, which soon changed into a bad mood as soon as the Sandiame gave a slight cough. Tsunade gave him a look, which was then followed by 200 Ryo. "I really got to stop this." Naruto was in a rather generous mood that day, and he asked Team 7 if they had anything to do the next day. Sai had clan business to attend to, but Sasuke and Sakura were free the next day. "Could come over tomorrow and bring swimsuits." Sasuke and Sakura had no idea why they had to bring swimsuits, but did anyway. They knocked on the door, and Kyuubi answered in a swimsuit. "Oh good, you're here. Follow me." Kyuubi led them to the indoor lake, and they suddenly realized why they had to bring swimsuits. Think of it as a beach without being able to tan or get a sunburn, Naruto said as he ran into the water. Sakura loved the idea, especially since she could be in a bikini in front of Sasuke. They enjoyed their day of swimming, sand burying, and sandcastle building, and it did them some good. Sasuke finally had some fun, something he hadn't done in years. For once, life was good. Naruto couldn't believe it. He had promised himself so many times to never take after his sensei. Yet, here he was, a sandwich in his mouth, his coat hanging only on one arm, his headband tied haphazardly on his head. He was late. Naruto ran for the Hokage Tower, trying to retie his headband while eating a ham and cheese sandwich. He reached the door, but instead of going in, he ran up the side of the building. Some ANBU joined him. "Stop, we need identification." Guys, not now." Naruto moaned. "I'm so late." "Be that as it may, we need identification. Come on, guys, give me a break." "No can do." "Look, it's not like I'm trying to kill anybody," Naruto said, still running up the side of the building. "Then you wouldn't mind giving us identification?" Naruto kept running. "You guys are worse at the airport." The ENBU kept running and asking for identification, while Naruto kept running up the building. Finally, one ANBU ran up beside him. "Stop running and give me your identification." Naruto just looked at him, then said, "You should watch where you are going. Before the ANBU could understand what he said, he ran directly into a flagpole. Naruto reached the Hokage's office. "I'm here," he said as he jumped through the window. The Godame Hokage glared at him. "You're late." Apparently, Kakashi had a greater impact on my life than I thought, Naruto said with a pitiful attempt to brighten Tsunade's mood toward him. It failed. "So, the mission? You and Team 10 are going as guards to the Kazekage." "Okay, hey, who got the job, anyways?" Sandame spoke up. "A good friend of yours, Gaara." "Awesome. You leave in an hour," Tsunade said. "Yes, ma'am," Naruto said before jumping out the window. "Are you ready, guys?" Kyubi asked the gathered teams. "Troublesome. I'll take that as a yes." And so the two teams departed. Hinata and Ino were talking together while the guys walked in the front. "Hey, Shikamaru," Naruto said. "What is it, Naruto? Why don't you wear your kunai holster on your arm or something?" Shikamaru's interest was perked. "Why would I do that?" "It's when you use your shadow techniques, you can grab a weapon that won't be there for the enemy, so you'd be armed and he won't be." Shikamaru thought for a second. That could work. It would also work vice versa. You could stab yourself with a kunai that wasn't there while the other guy killed himself. Kyubi sighed. There they go, sharing theories already. "Well, it's expected, isn't?" Chuji asked. "I mean, they're geniuses." "Yeah, they are. I guess it's for the best." Kyubi-sama, I have some questions for you." "Go ahead, what are they?" "I understand that you were forced to attack Konoha because of Madara Uchiha's Sharingan, but I don't understand why he would have a grudge against Konoha." "Well, you see, for a question like that, we must go back several generations to the founding of Konoha." They reached the desert. The sudden ending of trees and the even more sudden sandy road seemed to stretch for miles and announced the approaching of the desert. Naruto took out a scroll, and from it popped up 6 canteens. He gave one to everyone, except Kyubi, who didn't need it. He then said that they should get across in 2 days. Team 10 looked at him like he was crazy. 2 days? Asuma asked. "More like we get lost in 2 days." Asuma-san, Hinata said, "Naruto knows exactly what he's talking about." Naruto bit his thumb. Kuchios no Jutsu. Suddenly a huge, 8-tailed fox appeared. Team 10 stood in awe at the colossal size of it, and in a feminine voice it said, "Kyubi-sama, Naruto-sama, Hinata-sama, I'm here to do your bidding." "How many times do I have to tell you not to suck up?" Kyubi asked the kitsune. The giant fox grinned an innocent smile. "I have no idea what you're talking about, Kyubi-sama." Yeah. Then under his breath he added, "Geez, you promote a kitsune one time, and suddenly they're your best friend and they'd drop anything to help you. Jasmine, we need you to get us to the sand. That shouldn't be too hard." "Not at all. I will take you there with all my speed." "Good, okay, everybody, let's mount up." As soon as the party had found a comfortable spot on Jasmine's back, she shot off into the desert. Soon, Sunagakure rose above the horizon. "Thanks, Jasmine, that's enough." "Okay, I'll drop you off here." Jasmine slowed to a stop and came to rest a mile from the cliff that surrounded Suna. Team Fox thanked Jasmine. She poofed away. Then they turned to Team 10. They looked sick. "Don't worry," Naruto said. "The first time is the worst." Ino ran over to a nearby dune, and everyone heard her give up her lunch. The two teams walked into Sunagakure. It did not take long for a red-haired boy to come and greet them. "Naruto, it has been too long," he said as he walked over and hugged the boy. "Gaara, long time no see, buddy," the blonde responded. "So how are things going in Konoha?" "Oh, you know the usual, but look at you, Kazekage." "Oh, it's nothing really." "Nothing? Okay, it's a little something." "Oh, Gaara, before I forget, this is my team. You've already met Kyubi." "Joe," the kitsune said. "This is my future wife, Hinata Hyuga." "It's wonderful to meet you, Kazekage-sama," Hinata said as she bowed. "And this is Team 10, our companions. They are Shikamaru Nara, Chuji Akimichi, Ino Yamanka, and their sensei, Asuma Sarutobi. Welcome to Sunagakure, the village hidden in the sand." It didn't take long for Temari, a blonde with her hair done in 4 pigtails, to find Shikamaru. She had remembered the unexplained kindness he did to her at Chunin exams, and she wanted to repay him. Shikamaru would regret giving up on that day for the rest of his life. But we will leave them for now and join the rest of the party. They sat in the Kazakage's office. Gaara was briefing them on a rather disturbing situation. 2 weeks ago, an attempt was made on my life. I took care of the idiot who attacked me, but 2 days later he seemed to come back. What do you mean by come back? Naruto asked. That's just it. I'm not entirely sure. He just seemed to return from the dead. HM, I have a question, Gaara. Did he have a little gold medallion? About yay big? Yes, actually. Okay, second question. Did he wear a black robe with red clouds on it? Yes, how did you know? Naruto looked at Kyuubi, and they both said the same name at the same time, Hidan. Who? Ino asked. He's a member of the Akatsuki and a follower of Jashin. Naruto answered. Who is Jashin? The followers of Jashin is a cult that mocks the true god, the Great One. Kyuubi explained. The followers use demonic rituals and charms to grant immortality. Of course, the poor souls have no idea that they are really destroying themselves. Poor, wretched devils. Hidan is especially dangerous. The immortality ritual is especially dark, even for most of the followers. In short, he's an extremist. Naruto finished. The Akatsuki are also a force to be reckoned with. Their leader, whoever he is, believes that by using the power of all the Biju, he can create a jutsu that will bring peace to the world. What he doesn't mention is the destruction of most of the world. How do you know all of this? Gaara asked. Kyuubi keeps tabs on the people after him. Naruto said simply. Interesting. Well, now that I know what is after me, would you like to be employed as my bodyguards until this threat is dealt with? No problem. I don't have to sleep, so I can watch over you 24/7. Kyuubi said. And Hinata and I can play some fox summon guards on you too. Naruto said. And in the case of an emergency, we can be called and take care of them. Excellent. I'll have a hotel room set up for you, and you can settle down there for a while. He picked up a stack of papers with a sand tentacle. Enjoy your stay in Suna. Let us now return to the poor Nara who is forced to eat at a 5-star restaurant and has no choice but to follow a drop-dead, gorgeous woman all day. Troublesome, he mumbled under his breath. Admittedly, the food was good, but the walking was killing him. He only wanted to take a nap. Unfortunately for him, Temari's history lesson was boring him, only increasing the urge to sleep. This is where the first Kazakage declared Suna a hidden village. It was the year 723. ZZZZ. Temari glanced at Shikamaru and nearly slapped him awake. Luckily for him, she decided to gently wake and ask him if he was tired. After all, coming all the from Konoha was a long and tearing trip. Hey, are you tired? Yes, actually. Well, my brother probably has a hotel room set up for you guys. Do you want to go there and we can continue this another day? That would not be troublesome. Temari took him to the hotel, got him to his room, and made sure he was fast asleep before going off to find his teammates. They probably knew what he liked best, and that would probably make his day. The weeks slowly dragged by. After Temari learned that Shikamaru's favorite thing to do was sleep, she went to his room, wrote a note saying, "Here's the rest of our day. Enjoy your sleep," and went off to enjoy herself. Shikamaru thought it was awesome to find a girl that would let him sleep for a whole 24 hours and decided that he should at least try to be interested. As for the rest of our group, they were bored out of their minds. Hidan had not made another move since Gaara called was starting to get a little. Naruto did made a bet. If I say I give up, he'll be here. Why do you say that? Hinata asked. Murphy's Law, my dear, Murphy's Law. Well, then I give up. Suddenly an alarm sounded. Naruto just smiled. We should have given up days ago. Gaara saw the red scythe-like blades dig into the dome of sand. This guy was becoming boring. Each time it was the same attack. He knew that as the blade dug into the dome, Hidan was preparing a chakra-enhanced swing at the weakened area. It never happened. That's new. What's he up to? Gaara quickly prepared a knife of sand and sent it outside to check things out. The fox blade had the scythe locked in its swing, never to hit its target. I'm sorry. The Kazakage is not available. Can you leave a message? Before Hidan could say anything, much less attack, a 7-tailed fox with 2 round weapons rammed him. On time for once, Axel. I'm impressed. Axel is owned by Disney and Square Enix. Not me. Unfortunately. You're just jealous of my good looks. Axel replied. Yeah. You can go. Axel poofed away, just as Hidan stood up. DUF asterisk 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 asterisk. No F asterisk 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 who I am, boy. Yes, you're Hidan, the follower of Jashin. The name Jashin was like a bad taste as Naruto spat it out. But do you know who I am? Why should F asterisk 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 I care? Naruto smiled. In a flash, he had rammed Hidan, knocking him off his feet. A second later, Hidan felt a dull pain on his cheek. There was a small trickle of blood. Naruto slapped Hidan's face. Come on up and at him. Hidan's face twisted with rage, and he started swinging his scythe blindly, hoping to land a blow on the arrogant boy. Naruto laughed. If you think you can hit me by doing that, you may just as well cut off your own head. Shut the F asterisk 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 up, you annoying son of AB asterisk 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 asterisk. You asked a question, why you should care who I was? Well, I have an answer for you. Naruto smiled. Fear of the forest technique. Fear of the fox blade, no jutsu. Naruto's sword glowed a brilliant white light. He smiled. Stage 1, lightning. A bolt of electricity shot the scythe blade from Hidan's hand. Stage 2, earth. Hidan's feet were caught in stone boots. Stage 3, grass. 2 vines wrapped around Hidan's arms, immobilizing them. Stage 4, water. Ice formed around Naruto's sword. He swung it, and it landed as a puddle at his feet and the base of the vines, then froze, reinforcing both the boots and the vines. Stage 5, wind. Naruto's feet became surrounded by miniature tornadoes. Naruto looked straight at Hidan. There's one way to kill an immortal like you. Do you know what it is? Hidan started blankly at him. He had to be bluffing. Stage 6, fire. Naruto's blade was surrounded in flame. Reduce them to ash. Suddenly, Naruto was a blur, aided by the tornadoes at his feet. Naruto flew at a speed that would have impressed any of the Kitsune. It did not take long for those same tornadoes to spread the ashes far and wide. That's why you should care who I am. The other team was astonished. I take that back, they were beyond astonished. Suddenly, Hinata and QB sitting in lawn chairs didn't seem weird. I told you he had it handled, Hinata said as she worked on her tan. Asuma was in shock. Absolute shock. He was dead for 3 seconds before his heart started working again. He couldn't even say anything. Shikamaru looked at the scene. You woke me up to watch a light show? Troublesome. I'm going back to bed. Ino and Chuji didn't hear him. They just stared on, as did 2 more unseen spectators. A masked man paced back and forth as his partner stood, watching him with onyx eyes. I can't believe it, the masked man said. He killed Hidan. The other stood impassively. He is Naruto Namake's. You shouldn't expect any less. He's a 16-year-old boy, Itachi. He should even know the secret to killing a Jashin. Kakuzu, you must relax. You won't live another day if you keep on worrying. Why do you say that? Are you conspiring against us? No, Itachi replied. We just have a date tomorrow. Kakuzu looked completely confused until he turned around. Hidan's ashes were hovering in the sky, forming letters. Tonight at the gate. They read, Naruto is expecting us. Itachi said. It was dark. The cliffs of Suna always seemed to bring night faster than anywhere else. Naruto stood, with Kyuubi and Hinata, waiting for their prey. It was not long before Shikamaru joined them. Tell me, Shikamaru, was the message too obvious? What message? Then how did you? Never mind. It did not take long for the 2 enemy figures to make their appearance. They stared at each other in the darkness, waiting for someone to make a move. Finally, Naruto spoke. Itachi, I feel sorry for you. Why? Because if our intelligence is right, Tobi is going to be your next partner. Itachi slapped his forehead. Oh man, I completely forgot about him. Did we come here to talk or to fight? Kakuzu asked. Suddenly 5 huge beasts appeared behind him. Naruto smiled. Kyuubi, Hinata, take Itachi. Shikamaru, you're with me. Team Fox. Let's show this guys how to fight. They blurred. Suddenly, Itachi found himself again dodging thousands of chakra beams as Hinata launched her Shugo hack, Rokujion Sho. Kyubi, also dodging the thousands of chakra beams, kicked at him from behind, only to have poof into smoke. Cube suddenly felt cold steel being pressed against his neck. I'm better than that. Naruto fought 3 of the 5 great beasts. One was spewing fire, another water, a third one, lightning. The other 2 were keeping Shikamaru at bay. All the while, Kakuzu was using long tentacles to try and trip up the 2 fighters. He was unsuccessful each time. Shikamaru was lazily jumping around the field, unfortunately a little too lazily. His foot landed right next to a tentacle. Shikamaru landed on the sandy ground with a muffled thud. The wind beast stood over him with an evil glare. Suddenly, it was crushed by a huge stone. One down, Naruto said, his blade covered in tiny pebbles. 4 to go. The Earth Beast saw what had happened and attacked Naruto. Kakuzu cursed. The Earth One always had a stronger resistant will than the others. Now, he had risk giving one of his stronger ones to the strange boy, while it needed to be on Naruto. Naruto saw the hesitation. Shikamaru. Now, the Nara's shadow lunged for the masked enemy. It caught him. Quickly, Shikamaru acted to grab a kunai from his leg. There was none. Kakuzu laughed. Did you think I would carry around a bunch of kunai? They're not my kind of weapon. Speaking of which, the water beast lunged for Shikamaru, causing him to break the jutsu. Crud, Naruto whispered. Itachi, Kyubi, and Hinata were all locked in a taijutsu battle. Both Kyubi and Hinata were using the Kubiken while Itachi, ironically, was using the Uchiha's reflecting taijutsu. What's it called? Each time someone almost hit him, he thanked heaven. All they needed was to shove the chakra out of their system to do damage. Unfortunately, 2 taijutsu users were hard to keep track of, and each time he tried to start a jutsu, they rushed him, forcing him to break it off. Again and again, he tried it, and each time the 2 stopped him from getting out of the taijutsu cycle. He quickly launched a kick to Hinata's chin, sending her flying and evening the fight a bit. Kyubi jumped in the air and did a roundhouse kick, landing with a chakra-enhanced fist to the ground. The earth shook. Itachi suddenly wished he had kicked Kyubi instead. Then he saw something. Kunai, a lot of kunai, heading toward him. Then Hinata's voice was heard, shouting the name of the jutsu. Great whirlwind of kunai jutsu. The kunai that were coming at him suddenly started orbiting Itachi at an amazing speed. They started getting closer. Itachi did the only thing he could do. He ran. Kakuzu cursed. Itachi had abandoned him. Oh well, I guess I'll just have to take the credit for bringing in Kyubi. Naruto suddenly had an idea. Kyubi, how's your chakra? Is that a rhetorical question? I need a flying Rasengan. Wow, I'll see what I can do. Naruto quickly stabbed the fire beast's chest, paralyzing it. Shikamaru. Shikamaru nodded and tried it again. Kakuzu laughed. You think that'll stop me? He jumped over the shadow, only to see a bright blue ball bounce to the ground in front of him. It exploded. The beasts quickly dissolved. Kakuzu was no more. Kyubi came up panting. Man, that's a lot of work. I'm actually going to have to sleep after that. Itachi, Naruto asked. Escaped. Naruto pretended to curse. We almost had him. Don't worry, we'll get him next time. The next day, Team Fox and Team 10 waved goodbye to the Kazekage and his family. Come again, Naruto, Gaara said. When I'm Hokage, we'll have plenty of meetings, okay? Sound good. After Jasmine gave them a ride back to Konoha, the 2 teams went up to the Hokage Tower. Mission success, Hokage-sama, Naruto reported. That's wonderful, Asuma. There were no problem at all, Hokage-sama, Asuma said. Wonderful. Sarutobi smiled. Tsunade sent him a glare. You may go. Somewhere, at the Akatsuki hideout, a blond man with nearly 1,000 piercing on his face paced the floor. Why did you abandon him, Itachi? I had no choice, and when I tried to go back, he was already dead. The blonde-haired man cursed. This Naruto is becoming a thorn in my side, but we cannot kill him without risking the Kyubi. He paused. What do you think, Itachi? Naruto is a formidable foe. He is very strong and very influential in Konoha. The blonde sighed. Toby, get in here. A black-haired man with a strange orange mask came in. Toby is a good boy. Meet your new partner, Toby. Where is he? Leader Sama. All I see is Itachi-san. Both the leader and Itachi sweat dropped. He is Itachi, the leader said. Uye. Now go, both of you. Two wooden doors closed behind them as they left. Toby was walking with his new partner, about as happy as he could be, quietly squealing his delight. It did not take long for Itachi to crack. Toby, shut up. He activated his Sharingan and stared into the eye hole of the mask, only to meet a mirrored Sharingan eye. Toby shook his head and glared at the Uchiha, then in a voice that sounded vaguely familiar, but unlike Toby in every way he said, "Never do that again, Itachi." Itachi stared back, shocked. Toby then turned and returned to his skipping and squealing. Itachi stood in the hallway, shocked. Then suddenly, he felt very afraid. Team Fox, the Hokage began. I have some good news for only have one more mission with another team. Naruto looked like he might throw a party. Bad news, it's Team Guy. Naruto looked like he would cry. Lucky news, it's an easy mission. I've heard that before. Kyubi muttered. Tsunade shot him a glare before continuing. This mission requires you to go to Kusagakure, the powerful hidden village in the grass, But I thought it wasn't a powerful hidden village. Naruto said. You should have learned by now to stop interrupting. Tsunade gave Kyubi a gracious sigh, approving of his scolding to Naruto, then continued. While it's not a powerful hidden village, they relentlessly demand the honor of being called so. We have decided to agree to this claim. However, before we do, we have to inspect their ninja academies and barracks and such. You want us to spy on them? Hinata asked. No, this is a completely legitimate effort to help them. They need it. Then why are you sending us? Naruto asked. I'm sure you can find a more than eager genin team to take this mission. Actually, I already have. You are to be their escort. Escort? Kyubi asked. Allow me to explain. For some unknown reason, the road to and from Kusa has gotten increasingly more dangerous. So, you're sending 2 teams of at least Chunin-level ninjas to protect them? Seems like a waste of manpower. Hinata said, well, it's a little more complicated than that. Oh boy, here we go. Naruto began. We sent some A and BU after the last ambush, and they found evidence of Chunin-level ninjutsus, genjutsus, and weapons, and a lot of them. So basically, you think that there possibly be a threat to these genin? Yes. I'm out. What? With all due respect, Tsunade-sama, it's a waste of our abilities. Even if you're just testing our ability to work with other teams, it's a waste. Tsunade looked at him very hard and very long. Finally, she said, I thought you might say that, which is why I made sure that the team I hired for this mission is Team 22. 22. Why does that sound familiar? Or better known as... Oh no, it can't be. Team Konohamaru. Silence. I hate you, Tsunade-sama. Naruto was walking along with Team Guy and Team Konohamaru, half-heartedly enjoying watching Konohamaru trying to impress the not-too-easily-impressed Niji. Hinata was enjoying Naruto's company, but not so much that of the blue and green beasts of Konoha. Lee, my youthful student, behold the youthful love of Hinata-sama and Naruto-san. I see my sensei. It is so youthful. It has inspired me to run 10,000 laps around Konoha when we get back. Niji and Tenten were deeply ashamed by their conduct. It was not long before the 3 teams made it to grass country. They found it to be a very relaxing plain country. It stretched for miles, with forests and mountains in the distance. As they were walking along, many of the villagers were staring at Naruto, thinking that they didn't notice. Then they whispered in others' ears, and news began to spread. Hey boss, Konohamaru asked. Yeah, Konohamaru? Why are all these people staring at us? Simple, my dad. Huh. Naruto looked over to Hinata, who was snuggled in the crook of his arm. Do you want to tell him? Not really. I've had enough of history for a while, she responded. What about you, Q? Rather not. Brings up too many memories, he said. If you'll allow me, Naruto-san. Naji began. Knock yourself out, Niji. Niji cleared his throat. The grass country shares borders with earth, fire, rain, and waterfall country. Because the country lies between earth and fire, it has been invaded by the earth country during previous ninja wars. To avoid earth gaining a foothold next to the fire country border, many leaf ninjas came to Hidden Grass's aid during the Second Shinobi War. This resulted in many skirmishes taking place within its borders. During that war, Yondaime Hokage, Naruto-san's father, attacked and killed many IWA nins. Yondaime had two famous jutsu, the Rasengan and the Hiraishin no Jutsu, for which he received his nickname, Konoha's Yellow Flash. These jutsus were greatly feared by the IWA nins, and Yondaime became a hero of the war. So it is most likely possible that they are gawking at Naruto's likeness to his father. Naruto clapped. Excellent deduction, Niji. Couldn't have said it better myself. Naruto said before continuing, actually, I could have, but I'm too lazy to be rude. Kyuubi spoke. Look up ahead. They looked and saw nothing. Grassland stretched for miles around, leaving nothing for protection. I guess this is where they get ambushed, Konohamaru said. The rest of his team shot him a glare. No, the Hinyus, Moegi said. So they started off into the plain, watching their backs and sides for any sign of a possible ambush. It wasn't long before Team Guy started feeling uneasy. The Genins and Team Fox held no such feeling. The Genins were too excited to care, and Team Fox was confident in their abilities. Hinata activated her Byakugan. 3 meters to the left, 2 to the left, 6 behind, and one of them is behind that rock, she said, inconspicuously pointing to the rock ahead. Thank you, my angle, Naruto said before whispering to the other teams. Niji, you, and Hinata take the back, Tintin, up front with the Genin, and Ebisu guy, the left, lead the right. I'll take any that try to escape. Everyone nodded in agreement. They walked closer to the rock, remaining as calm as possible, when suddenly a ninja jumped in front of them. Hold it right there. Suddenly, the 3 other nins made themselves known. Each one had a Kumo headband. However, the symbol on her headband was crossed out, revealing themselves to be missing nin. Very interesting, Naruto said before yelling at the top of his lungs, attack. The group broke. Niji and Hinata both rushed to the back and engaged a kunoichi in a deadly taijutsu match. Lee went off to the right and began to seriously beat that one, as did Guy of the left. The one from the front suddenly found himself staring at a very angry kunoichi with a very big sword in front of her. Not to mention the Genin and their sensei. When he saw his men hit the ground, he decided it would be a good idea to retreat. He turned just in time to have a foot smack his face. Naruto had come up behind him, just in case he decided to retreat, and kicked him hard. The poor man was sent flying over the whole party and landed in the dust, just to see 2 Hyuga with deadly Byakugan glares. He began running for his life. Naruto walked up beside Niji and Hinata. Don't touch him, I want to try something. Everyone watched the man run, waiting for what Naruto was going to do. Suddenly it happened. Naruto disappeared in a yellow flash. The ex-Kumo nin ran as fast as his legs could carry him. Suddenly there, he was kicked in the jaw and sent flying upwards. He landed again, but not before Naruto made 4 clones of himself. Nah, the first one said, kicking the victim in the face. Me. The second one cried, landing his own kick. Ga. The third one, kicking also. Sh. The fourth one cried. His kick sent the missing nin into the air. Naruto. Naruto cried, Rasengan in hand. The helpless victim cried, unable to do anything, as the glowing blue orb approached him. Rasengan Hidan. The bright blue ball came smashing down on the man and sent him to the ground. Naruto landed with grace as his clones puffed from existence and headed back to the open mouth, eyes wide, shocked into his stupor teams. Naruto walked past them. Come on, we have an appointment to keep up. Boss, Konohamaru began. How did you do that? Naruto turned, smiled, and said, Namake's family secret. The rest of the trip was uneventful. Hinata eventually became so bored she pulled out a tiny metal tube and began to tinker with it. Kyubi decided it was time for some exercise and began running in the field as a good-sized fox. Tintin began sharpening a kunai. Ebisu secretly took out a small orange book and fell to the back of the party. Niji thought it was a wise idea to do so, seeing as how if Tintin saw that book, she'd kill him. Lee and Guy, being rather enthusiastic, began a small contest to see which one could run around the group the fastest. Guy won, and when Lee came a claim second, Guy said he could not. Why not, Guy-sensei? Because Kyubi was right behind when I won. And whoa, they finally made it to Kusagakure, where the Kusakage, as he tried to be called, met them. Welcome, welcome. I hope your journey was safe. Perfectly, Naruto said. That's wonderful news. He said, yes, it is. Anyway, I have 3 genin here that will check out everything and see if it passes inspection. Why do they need to inspect? Quite simply, to be sure you can, for example, hold the Chunin exams here, or for instance hold off an invasion, the usual.